Adelaide.
Partly cloudy and 31 with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brattig.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
Preventative detention laws have been rushed through the Senate, meaning some foreign criminals could soon be back behind bars. More than 140 non-citizens are back in the community after the High Court ruled indefinite detention was unlawful. The new rules are due to take effect by the end of the week. The Coalition wanted to amend the bill to ensure Parliament was aware each time a foreigner's release, but that was voted down. Liberal Senator David Koch says Australians have a right to know.
The Australian people are entitled to know who is being released into their communities. The fact of the matter is, at this point in time, we only know the tip of the iceberg. What we do know is that the government has released pedophiles, murderers, rapists and a contract killer.
Cost of living pressures are fuelling what's already deemed to be the most stressful month of the year. Last December, Beyond Blue saw a 41% increase in people accessing the service. Clinical spokesman Dr Grant Blasky says they're expected to see the same, if not more, this year.
I think people are feeling the pressures of high inflation and rate rises, and this gets amplified this time of the year by some of the pressures of the festive season, the end of the year, and it's a big time for people.
But the Reserve Bank's delivered an interest rate reprieve for thousands of home and business owners. The official cash rates remained on hold at 4.35%. The RBA says while inflation's showing signs of moderating, it's still at the higher end. The board will meet again in February. Police stopped a robbery in progress at a Davern Park liquor store last night. They were patrolling the area when they heard a commotion at the shop on Peachy Road and found a glass cabinet had been smashed and a suitcase filled with top-shelf whiskies. The teenage suspect, who was allegedly armed with a knife, was arrested without incident. There were no injuries to staff. The 15-year-old boy from Mansfield Park was taken to the local police station to be charged. Australian academic standards have collapsed, with the maths and reading skills of 15-year-olds declining over the past 20 years. The latest OECD data shows students are now at least a full year behind compared to other countries. Singapore was a clear number one in all subjects. The communications watchdog says telcos must have robust billing systems in place after Telstra were forced to fork out $24 million in penalties. More than $17 million has been returned to 6,000 customers who were wrongly charged for inactive internet services. ACMA chairwoman Nerita O'Loughlin says Telstra will pay a further $3.4 million by the end of the year.
More than 6,500 customers were impacted, and they were charged, most of those were small businesses, and they were charged around about an average of $2,500 more than they should have been charged by Telstra.
France's parliament's approved draft laws which would see single-use and disposable e-cigarettes banned. The government's hoping to address rising rates of vaping among teenagers and harmful effects on the environment. Australia will implement similar laws next year. And rescue workers in Indonesia say they've found the bodies of another 9 hikers caught out by a volcanic eruption in Sumatra. 22 people have now been killed. 1 is still unaccounted for. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. South Aussie Travis Head is back in Adelaide following his incredible tour of India, which saw him claim back-to-back Man of the Match performances in the World Cup semi-final and then again in the final. Head arrived home late yesterday afternoon with his wife and daughter and admits it's all still feeling a bit surreal.
It won't sink in for a long time. I said after the game I was looking forward to the 10 and 20 year reunion, so yeah, it's just a incredible bunch of blokes which were able to achieve some pretty special things throughout the 12 months. Obviously the Test Championship, a World Cup final, to be involved in both of them is quite incredible.
Audio there thanks to Nine. Head will fly to Perth in a few days ahead of next week's first test against Pakistan. Meantime, cricket's governing bodies are slamming a proposal which would see sporting organisations fund the construction of a Gabba replacement venue. The sports stadium is being redeveloped ahead of the Olympics. The AFL, Brisbane Lions and Queensland Cricket are being told they'll need to pay for a new 20,000-seat facility to be built. Back home, the Crows and Port Adelaide will both be on track this morning as the hard work of pre-season continues. The Power will hit the track at Alberton from 9:30am, while the Crows will also be on the track from 9:30 at West Lakes. And plenty of action in the EPL this morning with Luton hosting Arsenal, while Wolverhampton takes on Burnley. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Partly cloudy and 31 today, more of the same tomorrow, 33. A shower or two on Friday, also 33, and then showers for Saturday, 21. At the moment, 15. More news as it happens on 5AA.
City Discount Tires.
Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tyres, you'll get the 4th tyre free. The perfect tyre for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tyre and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value.
City Discount Tires.
For nearly 40 years, no one has done certified used cars quite like Steinborner Automotive, with dedicated yards including SA's best range of commercials loaded and ready to go, including SA's only dedicated small car and SUV centre, and SA's only large SUV and 4x4 centre suited for any lifestyle. Steinborner still also has the best range of Commodores, from ZBs to the collectibles. View all late model used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
Organising a memorial for a treasured family member can seem a lot, but not if you speak with Tim from Adelaide Memorials. For more than 40 years, Adelaide Memorials have kept the memory and spirit alive for thousands of South Australian families with beautifully designed headstones and plaques.
Tim will sit with you and to show you all the wonderful ways to memorialise the life of your loved one. There's no set and forget, there's no rush, just empathy and genuine attention to detail.
Tim also has a background in architecture, and the headstones and plaques he designs are often customised to reflect an individual's life, whether it be to include the lyrics to a favourite song or even a headstone carved into the shape of a guitar.
And currently there's room on their team for an experienced craftsperson with a trade background. So if you're interested in joining this small, passionate team, get in touch with Tim. Adelaide Memorials. For extra personal service, visit adelaidememorials.com.au.
There's Millionaires Mix, Triple Choc Heaven and Macadamia Magnifique. Merry Christmas, folks. I'm Brett Charlesworth, and they're just 3 of over 100 mouth-watering delights we make for you at Charlesworth Nuts. This year, more than ever, you need to spoil yourself and your guests with the very best and the absolute freshest. And when it comes to nuts, that means Charlesworth. I guarantee you will taste the amazing difference that 80 years of experience brings. 11 family-owned stores or shop online. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better. Get great value Christmas dishes for every budget at Coles. Like Coles RSPCA approved whole chicken was $5.50, now down to just $4.50 a kilo. That's great value hands down at Coles.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
8 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday on 5AA Breakfast. Coming up on the program this morning, Sean Fuster will join us. We'll go around the courts with Sean. David Koch will be on the program. Really interesting morning for him to come on, given yesterday's rates decision. They're on hold, thank God for that. For how long, though? That is the big question, and it points then to bigger questions around what's the state of the Australian economy in 2024, what's the state of the individual economies, your budget at home, the cost of living crisis as we move into next year. So I think that'll be a really interesting chat after 8 o'clock today. And of course, we'll get you across all the developments in the big stories around the country and the world. Notably, last night, the Senate passed the preventative detainee legislation. So we'll have some developments on that for you over the course of the morning as well. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, listeners. Good morning, Will. Don't want to start the day with a negative, but geez, that old legislation's come a little bit too late for one poor woman who lived in Paraka.
What's that saying about a day late and...
A day late, a buck short?
Day late and a buck short.
That's a lyric by Blink-182, isn't it?
Is it?
Yeah. A day late, a buck short.
Writing the report or losing a feeling.
Yeah,
it's damn it. But I think they used it. It predates them.
Yeah. So there's a lot of songs that have lyrics in them that people probably credit the... Like, was it Bob Dylan who said, when you got nothing to lose?
No.
Or did he just write it down first?
I think he just wrote it into a song first, yeah.
But the saying predated like a Rolling Stone. Such a good line. Yeah, that's Highway 61 revisited, isn't it? Anyway, yes, let's save the hardness and the bleakness for later.
I tell you
that time of year where it's just kind of exhausting talking about all the politics is so vile at the moment, isn't it?
It is
just
vile,
disgusting,
and it never feels further away than as you get to December. I think certainly now we're getting into the teeth of the month as well. There's not a human being alive right now that doesn't have a lot on.
No.
Work years are winding up. Family events are taking place. A lot of people planning travel or getting away to see family and do things. Everyone's got a million things on. You just kind of want to hope that in the background the country's running okay. And unfortunately, what's been thrust into the forefront in the last 48 hours is that it's anything but, frankly. The weather, though, is what I want to talk about. Have you seen the forecast for the weekend?
I'm glad you mentioned that. I had a quasi-religious moment leaving the house this morning. I'll get to that shortly.
I'm fascinated. 31 today, 33 on Thursday, and still 33 on Friday. So a continuation of this really warm, beautiful summer week we've been having. Then the weekend, there's a cool change late Friday. Saturday gets only up to 21, but up to 20 mils of rain. Sunday, 20, and up to 20 mils of rain as well.
Crazy.
So potentially, albeit it seems like they're hedging their bets a bit about when that rain system's going to come through, up to 40 mils of rain? This is the dry
like
summer.
The other day.
Completely.
That'll be depending on how fast it comes down. Hopefully it doesn't come down as fast as...
Tell us about your quasi-religious experience.
So I left the car parked out the front on the street last night, and I wandered out there this morning, and I stood next to my car, and I just noticed this colour. And I looked up at the sky. As the sun was coming up, the sky was a absolutely luminous pink. But framing this rectangle of pink that I was staring up at was a jacaranda in full bloom.
Beautiful.
So this purple jacaranda set against a pink sunrise, it looked like some work of art. And I stood there for about, I don't know, 30 seconds. Should have taken a picture of it.
That's beautiful. People do, so we get magnificent pictures get sent every morning.
Jacarandas are good.
I had a very polite and but horror-inducing moment this morning as I got up. It was about 4:15, and I snuck to the bathroom, and as I went past the room, there was a door open, and I hear a little voice go, "Hi."
It was Rosie.
Rosie was awake at 4:15, standing at the top of her cot, just waving at me, politely saying hi, as though she'd been there waiting for me all morning.
I thought for a moment you were going to say that she'd learnt a new word that she overheard from you when you were trying to put that piece of furniture together on the weekend.
Oh, no, we can't talk about that on the air.
I was laughing about it. Sometimes I think we should actually do it. We should do a secret show for you, our beloved and loyal listeners, where you have to sign a stat deck.
Right.
So the deal is you know what you're getting yourself into, and it's probably going to have some of the language that poor old Dave from Blakeview got kicked off the show for using yesterday. You know, the deal is it's two guys chatting amongst themselves, knowing that it's not for public broadcast, it's for private consumption, and it would include things like the story about what Will said when...
Well, I didn't know there were people in my house and I was putting together a treadmill in the garage.
That is the funniest story.
When we say on the show, and I say specifically, I hate putting things together, it's not an act. It's not. It's not art. I find it frustrating, and I'm not quick to anger in life. Typically.
No, I know you're not.
I'm not. But I lost my bottle on, what day would have that been? Monday?
Sunday, probably?
Sunday.
Yeah.
On Sunday.
Sunday afternoon, at peak putting stuff together time.
I apologise to everyone in the street, and indeed anyone who came over my house that I wasn't aware was in the house.
You hadn't had a beer or anything, had you?
No.
Because the last thing you want to, even a teaspoon of alcohol, when you're trying to put something together. There's that great scene in The Wire when McNulty split up with his wife.
Yep.
And he goes home and he's just eating out of the fry pan, and then he starts drinking beer, and then he realises he's got to put his bed together. And he's got all the bits on the floor, and he just kicks it across the room. So good.
We often say that there needs to be a German word. There's got to be a German word for the feeling when you thought you were alone in your home, or you were amongst just family at home, and you've said or acted in a way that is when you suddenly realise there are other people there. is quite unbecoming.
I've thought long and hard about this. I've discussed it with Kate. I just have to work on the basis that there's always potentially someone in our house. Seriously. Because we have people there all the time, like my daughter's boyfriend. It's like a drop-in centre.
You would.
You know, occasionally Jim's got mates sort of, lounging around. People you go, hang on, have we met? But we're going to talk about the gather round as well.
Well, we've got
today.
detail on the ticketing. We will be talking about as part of our 7 o'clock news wrap. The gather round ticketing detail will feature just after 7 if you're looking for some information, as it was released. Well, it's released as of today.
I'm really interested in this thing called the Collective. Have you seen the detail around that?
Yeah, this is on the the get together area.
$95 entitles you to a sort of semi-VIP type experience where you get to go into the third floor of the McGarry room on the riverbank stand, and they're going to put together what's called a bespoke food and drink package.
Nice.
Bespoke's become a bit of a overused term, hasn't it? Bespoke. What's bespoke mean? Does it mean dim sims?
Bespoke just means designed for you, doesn't it?
You and everyone else who's paid $95.
Yeah, that's right. But it makes it sound fancy.
Does it mean you don't just get the Hahn Super Dry? You might get a bit of crafty action.
I think it means that you won't just get usual footy day fare. Something special for the event.
See, $95 is not really that long a walk from what you pay when you go to the tuck shop there to buy a chicken burger and a Coke.
It's really not. It's really not. We'll be talking more about the gather round over the course of the morning. And, of course, talking to you. 8223 0000. You can text us on the Duttons text line, 0448 08 1395, or jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. News headlines next.
If you've ever wondered what the extra stands for in Physio Extra, that's easy.
Extra everything. Extra time with every appointment.
Extra care with a genuine hands-on approach to healing.
Extra expertise. Extra treatment options.
Extra appointments with same-day treatments available. Extra convenient because we have 6 Physio Extra locations around Adelaide. That's right, 6.
It's the extra in Physio Extra that makes all the difference. Visit physioextra.com for your nearest location or call for a same-day appointment.
Mawson Lakes Mazda's 2023 Play Clearance Sale is on now. Discover amazing deals across the entire range, including free on-road costs on all cars. That's right, free on-road costs across the entire Mazda range. Hurry in to find your perfect model and colour. The sooner you get to the showroom, the better your chance of scoring your dream car. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
Whether it's a surprise on your favourite co-worker's desk or a treat under the tree, nothing beats sharing a South Australian icon for Christmas, Men's Fruit Chocks.
Whether you're partial to the classic fruit chocks, a fan of melt-in-your-mouth violet crumbles, or prefer to indulge in a variety, there's a gift pack for everyone at the Fruit Chock shop.
Make all your interstate relatives bring a box of SA Pride home. Oh, and Santa said this year, don't worry about the cookies. Leave out a pack of Fruit Chocks.
What about this? Will's been a father only for a few months and he's already on the phone to Father Christmas. A pack of this South Aussie favourite never lasts long, so naturally these gift packs are Fruit Chockers.
Shop online or at the Fruit Chock shops in Glyn, McLaren Vale, Hahndorf, Tanunda, and online. Plenty of spots for Santa to shop.
This Christmas will look a lot different for struggling families and vulnerable members of our community. The ongoing cost of living crisis makes it impossible to put a decent family meal on the table. And keeping a roof over their heads is getting harder and harder. People shouldn't be hungry, anxious and desperate this Christmas. Vinnie's needs your help to give emergency support this Christmas. Head to vinnies.org.au or call 13 18 12 to donate.
FIVEAA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to FIVEAA on Facebook or YouTube.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is FIVEAA Breakfast.
90 minutes after 6, let's get into the news headlines on this Wednesday morning. The federal government is under pressure to detail what a new preventative detention regime will look like. More than 140 asylum seekers have already been released after the High Court deemed indefinite detention illegal. 3 have already been arrested. Legislation has passed the Senate, which could see asylum seekers placed back in detention. But Shadow Immigration Minister Dan Tehan says he wants more information.
They've got to detail who will be captured by this and what action they're going to take. And also for those who won't be caught by this legislation, what are they doing to deport them? Are they still going to other countries saying, will you take these people? All that seems to have come to a screaming halt.
I got the detail of what got passed last night. You can drive a truck through some of this. Who and how many actually get captured by the legislation?
Well, they're going to try to anyway, aren't they? There's already going to be a High Court challenge against it.
Oh, that's going to happen without a doubt. But even in the meantime, the way in which this operates, how many people it captures, it's a live question that Dan Teen asks.
It's amazing how much Adelaide became part of it with this story about the completely vile Aliawa Yawari. I've always wondered what that business on the corner of King William Street and Greenhill Road called Life Without Barriers does. Apparently they do a lot of work helping to house former detainees, get them out into the community. I mean, it's a bummer of a name, Life Without Barriers, given
who your clientele is.
Some of the conduct that we've seen.
Some people need barriers, it turns out.
There's also, I was going to turn this into breaking at 8, but I've got something else lined up. Apparently there's all this stuff about how the AFP is doing a great job helping monitor the 6 weirdos and perverts that now call South Australia home as a result of this High Court ruling. Apparently they're hugely questionable, the level of support that the AFP is giving in terms of actual grunt work, on the ground, hard yards, old sort of, shoe leather type police work. Apparently the whole thing's just been dumped in SAPOL's lap.
So they've handed them the manila folder of priors and said, here's who you're looking after now.
Apparently they're quite good at the sort of technical, logistical sort of back-end stuff, but in terms of actually providing any meaningful help to SAPOL whatsoever, there's quite a bit of eye-rolling going on at the moment about...
Well, that's comforting.
Yeah, great.
SAPOL have got plenty on their plate at the moment.
Oh, yeah, and plenty of staff.
Yeah, they're all just sitting around just waiting for...
Yeah, they got people got nothing to do.
Unbelievable. How about this? A tortoise in America is celebrating his 191st birthday.
Crikey.
Jonathan is the oldest living land animal and has surpassed his average life expectancy by 40 years.
Quite a formal name, but I guess he is over 200 years old.
Well, maybe back 191 years ago it was sort of considered quite edgy, Jonathan.
No one would call you Jono.
Not Jono. Laying claim to being the oldest living land animal is pretty cool.
Is he a Galapagos tortoise?
I'm not sure. What
species of tortoise?
Well, I don't have that information.
We're talking Murray River longneck tortoise?
No, I wouldn't have.
Terrapin?
I wouldn't have thought. I'm guessing he's bigger than...
Snapping turtle?
No, I don't think they live that long.
Seychelles giant tortoise. Okay, so there you go.
Giant
tortoise. One of the big ones.
191, so what's that? 18, what, 11? 1832. 1832.
Now, we've discussed this before. Never try to do complex subtraction.
Hey, don't have a crack at me. I'm part of the people that did school over 20 years ago that the OECD now says are really smart. Just compared to today's kids. In fact, that's the next story. How about that? Maths and reading skills have drastically declined over the past 2 decades, and evidence by my effort just then a moment ago, that's quite scary. A new report out of the OECD's Program for International Student Assessment shows boys are not keeping up with literacy skills, girls are falling behind in maths, COVID school closures, a rise in teacher shortages, and technology are being blamed.
That all feels eminently plausible, doesn't it?
Well, I actually my first reaction to reading the story was, their kids are a year behind where they were when they last regularly did the test. Well, didn't pretty much every kid have a year of their schooling wiped out? Isn't that the most easily explained phenomenon? The problem is it follows a trend of diminishing returns. The results have gotten worse year on year, and this is a continuation of that pattern. But this cohort especially, they got a bit of an out, don't they? And it explains a bit why, whilst our record has gone down, relative to other countries, we've moved up.
Yeah, right, because it got worse elsewhere.
Because elsewhere they had it worse. Former Tesla employee is sounding the alarm on the technology powering self-driving vehicles. He's leaked data about braking and self-driving software not being safe enough to be used on public roads. He says vehicles on autopilot mode randomly brake in response to non-existent obstacles known as phantom braking. Well, that's great.
Nice.
Speaking of which, artificial intelligence is being used to bring dead loved ones back to life. Some mourners are using the technology to create chatbot avatars to help them work through their grief. So the process by which this works, according to the Tizer this morning, is essentially people have been uploading the entire chat history from their messenger or their texts to ChatGPT, and it creates an online persona, which is one element. There's an element that's really quite sad to it, and people obviously grieve in different ways, but there's another element I find it's just darn creepy.
I'm just wondering, though, you'd want to come up with some pretty enigmatic messages, some profound messages with your loved ones, wouldn't you? Because I'm just going back through my most recent messages with my wife, things like this. Charlie is bawling because he feels so sick, quote. I've told him if he doesn't go to school, he won't be allowed to go in the pool later today, but he is still crying. Do you want to bring them to life? And
well, I'm guessing
it's the mundane minutiae of domestic life.
The reality of this probably is it doesn't really stretch the AI's capabilities. It's a pretty mundane level of conversation that happens via texting.
I love you. How's your knee? It would be better if I didn't have to climb 7 effing flights of stairs. There's another message.
Actually, yours are quite enigmatic. I think you'd be brilliantly recreated by AI. I take it all back. It's a great idea. 15.8 degrees outside, 31 the expected top today, 33 tomorrow, 33 on Friday with the change coming through, possibly some rain. Then there's some serious rain Saturday and Sunday, 21 the top on Saturday weather-wise, 20 mils. The uppermost sort of range expected. The same for Sunday, top of 20 and up to 20 mils as well on Sunday. Tom Wren's just wandered into the 5AA Breakfast studio. You can watch him on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream. Thanks to Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au. Morning, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. As we know, the tickets have gone on sale for LIV. I just wanted to talk about that quickly. A very positive pre-sale with LIV golf tickets, returning purchases for from 2023. Now, in the first 4 hours, they've surpassed what was sold in the first 2 days last year.
You're kidding.
They're 175% ahead year on year and expect they'll sell out very quickly. It's open slather today. So I was talking...
So this isn't like one of those sort of Taylor Swift style getting early into the secret area to buy tickets. Like everyone can buy tickets.
Everyone can buy tickets from today. It was reasonably open yesterday, but it's open slather today. I've spoken with the LIV Golf Adelaide Tournament director, Nick Haslam, who's all over it and, did such a brilliant job last year. And there is hope that there could be 30,000 people on site each day.
Wow.
And if that's the case, it could be the biggest ever golf tournament held in Australia. So that's how big it's going to be.
I reckon they'll get that number.
I think they will.
As you were saying, Rennie, I wonder how many people are getting... That's their Christmas gift this year.
Yeah.
The timing of the ticket sale release is perfect, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, get Dad a ticket to LIV.
And
works out well.
And Mum and the kids as well, it's so popular. Like Sarah, who, can take or leave most sports, she said, we were only talking about it a week or two, she said it's the best event she's ever been to. She just loved it that much. Yeah,
it really was blessed last year by the weather.
The weather was great.
Like it made such a big difference.
Yeah. Whereas if you had a weekend like this weekend,
we did the show down there on the Friday, and I hung around for about 45 minutes after the program. We went and had breakfast with the dude that day.
That's right,
Tom Duday. He'd been on the show, so we went and had a. I remember him laughing at me because I made a potato chip sandwich. And he was sitting there going, "Are you actually going to eat that?" I went, "Yeah, I like chip sandwiches."
If he thinks that's too bogan, he's going to have a few big moments awaiting him in Queensland, isn't he?
Yeah, we're ham, steak and pineapples, haute cuisine up there. But I reckon it caught us all by surprise, though. Because, not you, Tom. You knew how massive it was going to be. But I only decided that day I might pop down again tomorrow with Dad. And just even arriving at Grange, it was like, my God, look at this. What about the atmosphere?
It was great, wasn't it?
How well organised is it?
And I think we're going to, we have to enjoy it, I think, while we can, because I get the feeling, maybe in a few years it could potentially be swamped or, outbid by other states. So I think while we've got it, enjoy it. So get those tickets if you can. The other story I am obsessed with this morning, it's only just sort of breaking, is Manchester United banning journalists from 4 media outlets for his press conference, Eric Ten Hag. Now, Manchester United is claiming they've not been given the right of reply to negative stories around the club. So journalists from Sky, ESPN, Manchester Evening News and the Mirror News, so big organisations, were excluded after reporting that some players are unhappy with the coach, Dutchman Eric Ten Hag. They're currently sitting in 7th spot, so underachieving for the gravitas of that club. Quote, Manchester United, we're taking action against a number of news organisations, not for publishing stories we don't like, but for doing so without contacting us first to give us the opportunity to comment, challenge or contextualise. We believe this is an important principle to defend and we hope it can lead to a reset in the way we work together. This is the coach talking about that ban a short time ago.
They should come to us first and not go around in our back printing articles. That's not the right thing. I think we have another relationship. If they should give that to us beforehand, we have a normal and a professional discussion and debate about it.
Well, that always works.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Banning
Come
the
to us
media.
first.
That always works.
Hi, is that Manchester United? Just want to see, are any of the players unhappy?
Well, and you know what? Talk about a lame story to get your knickers in a knot over.
Oh, yeah,
you could ring
pathetic.
any business, any business on planet Earth and find an unhappy employee or someone who thinks the boss is doing a crap job. What a thing to crack it over.
I know, so fascinating. They've got Chelsea tomorrow.
Grow
if they
up.
lose that at home, it's going to be a powder keg.
The joke of all
stories too.
The joke of all this is they'll sack Ten Hag in a month.
Yeah.
And, you know, this
He
whole
could be
thing...
gone by Christmas.
Exactly right. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Thanks, Tom.
Tom Wren, thanks to Gliderol Garage Doors, new Platinum Native Series sectional doors, gliderol.com.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 31 with the 6:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Try Locomat robotic gait training technology for neurological issues at Physio Extra. Visit physioextra.com.
Released detainees could soon be back behind bars with preventative detention laws passing the Senate. More than 140 asylum seekers have been released after the High Court ruled indefinite detention was unlawful. 3 detainees have already been arrested, including a man in Adelaide who's charged with 2 counts of indecent assault involving a woman at a Paraka motel. The Oakden whistleblower has appeared in court. Mel Usher has details.
Stuart Johnston fronted court yesterday alongside his adult son. The pair has been charged with knowingly possessing child exploitation material. 2 identical mobile phones were seized back in May. The 50-year-old will return to court in January to answer the charge. Johnston says the charge is not as it seems and more will be said about it in due course.
Australian teenagers are lagging at least 2 full academic years behind students who went to school in the early 2000s. Results from the Program for International Students shows nearly half are failing to reach national standards in maths and reading. The gap between rich students and those from low socio-economic backgrounds is also widening. Mental health services are expecting a rise in those accessing support ahead of Christmas. 83% of Australians say the cost of living is having a negative effect on their mental health. Beyond Blue's Dr Grant Blaschke says it can be a gruelling time of year.
Last year in December, we had a 40% increase in contacts to our support service. So we're expecting that again, and getting on the front foot and encouraging people to look after themselves at this time of the year.
While shoppers want supermarkets to use money they're saving by axing checkout staff to bring down grocery costs. Sophie Clark explains.
Grocery prices have surged by 5.3% in the 12 months to October, and customers feel they're being ripped off. Essential polling shows 67% of shoppers believe self-serve checkouts are being used to cut staffing costs, forcing them to do the work. They're annoyed supermarkets aren't improving services or reducing prices to compensate. Woolworths insists it's always working to keep prices as low as possible and says the price of some fruit, vegetables and meat has actually fallen.
A Geelong shopping centre Santa has been sacked after allegedly making a lewd comment to a child. The man allegedly made an inappropriate remark to a girl as she prepared to have her photo taken. Police have been notified. Australia Post is shifting its focus to parcel deliveries in order to boost productivity. Posties will be able to make deliveries daily, but letters will be delivered every second day. Communications Minister Michelle Rowland says it's about adapting to a change in demand.
We recently saw Australia Post report a $200 million loss, primarily driven by the decline in letters. That's why earlier this year the government commenced a consultation process to see what people wanted in Australia Post.
And a YouTuber's been jailed for 6 months in the US for deliberately crashing his plane for views. Trevor Jacob posted the video of the plane crash after ejecting from the plane, selfie stick in hand, implying it was an accident. He's since admitted the clip was part of a product sponsorship deal. Now turning to FIVEAA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with cricket. South Aussie Travis Head is back in town after his incredible tour of India and is now preparing for next week's first test against Pakistan. Meantime, Adelaide Strikers coach Jason Gillespie says he's thrilled with David Payne coming in as the replacement for Rashid Khan. That's ahead of the upcoming Big Bash season. Payne is a left-arm quick from Perth as opposed to the spin of Rashid Khan. But speaking with Rowie and Timmy G, Gillespie says they've got some quality slow bowling already and he loves the variety Payne will bring.
He obviously played at the Scorchers last year, got 10 wickets in 6 games and swings the ball up front, very experienced bowler. And we thought that would complement our bowling lineup, our team very well. And crucially, he's available for the whole group stage and finals.
The Strikers kick off their BBL season at home against the Brisbane Heat on Saturday. Well, Adelaide and Port Adelaide's players will train this morning as pre-season continues. Meantime, Stephen King hopes to eventually coach an AFL side again after getting a taste for it with the Gold Coast Suns this year. The 45-year-old left the Suns despite initially expressing excitement at working under Damien Hardwick. He says moving to the Cats to become an assistant made better sense for his future.
It was one of the most difficult decisions I've had to make in footy because Gold Coast had been so good to myself and my family and given me that opportunity to move up there and get a taste of actually coaching my own team. But yeah, just the way it sort of felt.
And there's about 10 minutes to play in the first half between Wolverhampton and Burnley with scores locked at 0-0. And that's the FIVEAA Sport.
Now the FIVEAA forecast.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Partly cloudy and 31 today, partly cloudy again tomorrow, 33. A shower or two Friday, 33, and then showers on Saturday down to 21. At the moment, 16. More news as it happens on FIVEAA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. FIVEAA Breakfast.
23 to 7, our listeners are up and about early. The Dutton's text line full of thoughts this morning. Call into Dutton's Mount Barker or Murray Bridge, purchase a new or used vehicle and go into the draw to win $3,000.
Getting yet again so many messages along these lines. Labor asleep at the wheel. Albo totally focused on the voice since voted in instead of keeping people safe from Andrew. Rob suggests if we ever did the sort of Derek and Clive style unexpurgated what's said off-air podcast, that it could be called The Secret Lives of Dave and Will. There you go. And I like this one from Rob. This is in relation to Jonathan, the 194 giant Seychelles turtle, 194 years old. Good knock for a tortoise.
191.
191, sorry. Rob says, I found a turtle at my front door the other day, so I picked him up and threw him a few houses away. 3 months later, there's a knock at the door, and when I open it, there's a turtle standing there, and he said, "Hey, why did you do that?"
Good turtle-related humour.
I've heard that as a joke in relation to a snail that had a job as a door-to-door encyclopedia salesman.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah, and you throw the snail.
Same construction.
Comes back later and says, "What'd you do that for?"
Justice for slow animals.
Yes. Keep them coming, folks, on the old Dutton's text line.
Do you want to hear the most bizarre story going around the world at the moment? There's such a sign of the time story that it's sort of hilarious but also infuriating. There's a YouTuber by the name of Trevor Jacob who's been jailed for 6 months for deliberately crashing his plane for views.
You're kidding.
So this guy, in December 2021...
What's he, a TikToker or a YouTuber?
A YouTuber.
Okay.
So they're a bit older than TikTokers, I think. So this guy's 30. In December 2021, he crashed his plane whilst he was being filmed flying it and put it up on YouTube. Obviously, he survived. He ejected from the plane with his selfie stick in hand. You know, you can just never know. And parachuted down to land. It went viral, so millions of people watched it. These days, you get millions of views and it translates directly to dollars on YouTube and platforms like that. So
because you get a cut of the ads.
You get a cut of the ads, exactly right. The former Olympic snowboarder pled guilty earlier this year to one felony count of destruction and concealment with the intent to obstruct a federal investigation. According to federal prosecutors, Jacob most likely committed this offence to generate social media and news coverage for himself and to obtain a financial gain. Here is Trevor Jacob speaking outside court.
When I landed in the forest there, it felt horrible. I was like, there's people out there trying to save lives and do important things to uplift society, and I'm sitting here, I just purposely jumped out of this plane, let it crash into the ground, and now I'm stranded in the wilderness. I'm an idiot.
Well, that's an epiphany.
That is an epiphany.
He's right.
He's right. It speaks to... It's the extreme example of a very everyday problem, though, isn't it?
How do you mean?
This desperate desire for people to generate interest in mundane
totally
crap they do with their lives.
Yeah, I know. But you see so much of that stuff when you're scrolling through YouTube, like looking for recipes or something like that, and suddenly, you know, or things that pop up in your Facebook feed of like craziest pool fails, and you can tell that people have deliberately done it.
Yeah, that's right. They're not just accidentally caught on camera moments.
Well, I suppose, though, the sort of early prototype for that is people, you know, deliberately pushing their kids off swings so they could get on Australia's funniest home videos. I reckon in the analogue era, a bit of
you're right. You're right.
But it's become an industry now.
Yeah.
Bizarre.
Lucy's wondering what epiphanies our audience have had. You had an epiphany. It wasn't quite an epiphany. You had a moment, though, with the sunrise this morning.
Well, technically, doesn't an epiphany mean a realisation where it's almost like God is telling you something?
Yes, you've received like a message, like you've been enlightened in a moment.
Like in Pulp Fiction.
Yes.
The bullet.
The bullet.
The magic bullet, which Jules sees as...
it's a sign.
As a sign that he has to get out of the job.
Do we have epiphany people listening? Maybe you've had an epiphany. 8223 I think we use it sort of as a turn of phrase, as jokingly more so than people genuinely think they've had an epiphany, but maybe not. Maybe that describes someone. You can text us to on the Dutton's text line, 0480 1395.
Or to borrow another line from Pulp Fiction, I had what the alcoholics call a moment of clarity. Geez, the last half hour of that film's astonishing. Good text here from a card-carrying lefty. I like the self-description here. I'm horrified by the release of the stateless thugs, but equally angered that Dutton is definitely blaming the current government for the previous government's mess. I'm also baffled that the Greens feel like we need to feel compassion for these monsters. 100%. I may be a card-carrying lefty, but tolerance and respect is cancelled once you steal the liberties of the people granting you freedom. Absolutely. Absolutely.
The Greens.
Yeah.
The Greens vote continues to go up in this country.
Well, I think it's because they're so absolute in their views, as per the Palestine position that they've taken, that a lot of traditional hard left people just go, well, if Labor are going to sort of try to straddle the middle ground, I'm going to go to the party that gives me the unadorned version. Don't you reckon?
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah, you might as well go to the hardcore. Quentin with the Q on the Dutton's text line says, "How rude! I'm over 30 and I use TikTok. There is no age limit to being silly." Apologies, Quentin.
I like this one from Rob. Mesmerising things on YouTube, watching videos of plumbers unblocking pipes. There's a whole rabbit hole of videos you can keep watching. That's good.
We've got an answer to a question that we did a series of interviews on this. The lunar rover has officially received its name. As we predicted during that chat, there were high hopes for some of these beautiful names like Coolamon, which is an indigenous name for multi-purpose tool used for gathering. Kikira, an indigenous name for the moon. Mateship was one of them put forward. None of them ever had a chance because the winner was always going to be Ruva. Ruva is the name. Ruva is the name of the rover. It was voted by from the vast majority of people who replied to the Space Agency's naming competition. 20,000 Australians voted.
Ruva is the name that has been chosen by the Australian people for what will be Australia's first rover that goes to the moon. We have collectively come together as a nation, and we now have a project that we can all throw our support behind as it heads to the moon later this decade.
The lunar environment is very harsh, very extreme. We don't actually know what we're going to be traversing across when we get onto the lunar surface.
Ruva. It's a good name.
It's a very Australian name.
I still reckon the Moonaro would have been better.
That would have been the best name by a mile.
Particularly if they jacked it up a bit at the back.
They need to do that. Needed to happen.
Put a crazy horn on it.
Australia's contribution to space exploration, the Moonaro. Real missed opportunity.
That way you could do blockies on the moon.
Bad job,
around.
bad job, you Australia. All right, let's check traffic.
With your shirt under your navel and your gold ingot.
We're going to be talking cars actually coming up the back end of this half hour, because there's something really strange that's happened in Australia this year. Cost of living crisis. People are cutting back. We've sold more cars than ever. We'll find out why just before 7 o'clock. Let's check traffic.
Thanks, Will. Good morning. Roads are A-OK today, smooth as, which is really nice for the driving today. The freeway working well from Hahndorf through to Glen Osmond. Northern Connector, accident and breakdown free. That's always nice. Do have a lane closed at Salisbury this morning. Park Terrace near Paternoster Road. And it is starting to build South Road at Edwardstown. You find cameras this morning, North East Road, St Agnes and Whites Road at Parole. The BYD EV rebate top-up is on now. Claim up to $3,500 on the award-winning BYD Atto 3 before December 31. Visit BYD today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
We understand not all small businesses are the same. That's why Nissan Fleet offers tailored vehicle solutions for your unique business needs. With dedicated fleet managers available across Australia, we're your local fleet experts, providing quality advice, support and customer service for the entire life of your vehicle fleet. Visit your local Nissan dealer or search Nissan Fleet today and we'll find the right business solution for you.
There's hot chili cashews, smoked almonds and delicious spicy peanuts. Merry Christmas, folks. I'm Brett Charlesworth and they're just 3 of the tantalising products we cook hot and fresh for you in every one of our Charlesworth Nuts stores. There's salted and unsalted nuts, there's spicy, hot chili and smokehouse flavoured, plus our range of designer mixes exclusive to Charlesworth's. Just follow the seductive aroma of freshly cooked nuts to one of our 11 family-owned stores or shop online. Why Charlesworth? Because fresh nuts taste better.
City Discount Tires. Get saving this month at City Discount Tires. When you buy 3 Wild Peak AT3W all-terrain tires, you'll get the 4th tire free. The perfect tire for your next adventure. City Discount Tires are a proud multi-tire and wheel brand retailer offering great service at great prices. Visit citydiscounttires.com.au to find your nearest store. City Discount Tires. We're driven by value. City Discount Tires.
Get great value Christmas dishes for every budget at Coles. Like Coles RSPCA approved whole chicken was $5.50, now down to just $4.50 a kilo. That's great value hands down at Coles.
Now, don't leave this till December 24. Sam Tass Seafood's pre-Christmas sale is on. Unbeatable prices on SA Premium King prawns. I ate about a kilo of them Friday night for our early Christmas. They were brilliant. How's this? Extra large SA King cooked king prawns, $26.99 a kilo. Medium large, $18.99 a kilo, and 3 kilo packs just $55.
Plus, you'll find full stock of all sizes from the mediums up to and including the elusive, exceptional double jumbos, all cooked, packed, and frozen at sea. Freshly cooked crayfish, they're from $87.80 per kilo.
Feed the family on a budget with Sam Tass's unbeatable quality seafood deal. Snap frozen kilo packs of your favourite kinds of seafood. Mix and match, 4 kilos, just $60.
There's variety too. Choices include Tassie salmon, snapper and dory fillets, Sam Tass Seafoods, the South Australian king prawn, fresh fish, seafood and freshly opened daily oyster specialists.
Factory direct with convenient on-site free parking. Sam Tass Seafoods, Richmond Road, Richmond, and they're open on Sundays too.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
12 to 7. If you thought for a moment that summer was lulling you into a period of consistent 30-degree highs and nice warm days, there's a surprise in store for the weekend. Vince Rowlands at the Weather Bureau has all the details. Vince, we'll get to the late change, but let's start with the nice weather, starting with today.
Yeah, it's looking pretty good again today. Look, a bit of cloud around, a bit of middle-level cloud drifting across the city again today, but still expecting to get to a maximum of 31 degrees across the metro area today. A little bit warmer up in the northern suburbs, Elizabeth getting to 33 degrees, 29 for Mount Barker. Along the coastal fringes, we've got 30 for Glenelg and 28 degrees for Nollunga. So those southeasterlies still hanging around, but yeah, pretty nice day today. Look, temperatures warm up a little bit as we head towards the weekend, so we've got a top of 33 degrees forecast for tomorrow. Again, a little bit of cloud around. And then on Friday, we do see maximum temperature reaching 33 degrees before we start to see some showers coming through. So, as you mentioned, it is looking like it will be a pretty wet weekend. We do see those showers developing later on Friday, but continuing through the weekend and actually increasing. And that does drop the temperature quite significantly. So we've got a top of 21 degrees for Saturday, 20 degrees for Sunday, and there's potential there for some pretty good rainfall figures. So there's still a little bit of uncertainty around rainfall totals as this upper system drifts across the state, but potential there to see some falls getting up to around 20 millimetres on both Saturday and Sunday for the metro area. We do see temperatures warming up on Monday, though, back up to 29, but just having the odd shower lingering around, and then 26 again with a shower or two on Tuesday. So, make the most of the next few days because looks like we'll see a return to some pretty cool conditions and pretty wet over the weekend.
Vince, when are you expecting the bulk of that rain activity to come through on the weekend?
Yeah, look, it looks like it will be mainly, well, it looks like it could be either day, but I think at this stage it's probably more likely to see the heavier falls on Sunday, but Saturday couldn't rule out seeing some reasonable falls through the metro as well.
Good stuff. Thank you, Vince. Let's head to Safe Parole. Senior Constable Matt Brown joins us. Matt, 2 arrests have been made in separate pursuits, one in Brompton and one in Lightsview.
That's right. Well, about 3:45 a.m. today, police spotted a stolen white Nissan Skyline being driven south on Churchill Road at Fitzroy and then turned to travel southeast on Torrens Road. And Western District Patrols attempted to stop the car, however it took off at speed and the Nissan was pursued through the back streets of North Adelaide, and police continued to follow the car as it headed south, then on East Street at Brompton, where it reached a dead-end street and collided with bollards at the end of the road. The driver attempted to run from the scene but was caught a short distance away and arrested without incident. So the 34-year-old man from Everard Park was taken to the Royal Adelaide Hospital where he was being treated for minor injuries. A search of the stolen car located numerous power tools suspected of being stolen, and checks revealed that the Nissan had also been stolen from a Woodville North address. And the men will face numerous charges, including driving dangerously to escape a police pursuit, illegal use of a motor vehicle, and unlawful possession.
Wow. And then there's the second one too, Matt.
That's right. The second one, Dave, was a little bit earlier, still sort of in the same area, just before 3 a.m. Police attempted to stop a green Mitsubishi sedan in Redwood Avenue at Lightsview. The car sped off and the boot popped open, revealing stolen property, including a concrete cutter, angle grinder, and other construction tools. Now, police activated their lights and sirens, pursued the vehicle as it drove south on Hampstead Road, through North East Road and then through back streets, where it was eventually dumped in Newbond Street at Prospect. The male driver and his female passenger were arrested nearby. So the 48-year-old man and the 47-year-old woman, both from Prospect, were charged with unlawful possession. The man also charged with traffic offences, including driving dangerously to evade police and failing to stop. So they were both bailed to appear in court at a later date. So certainly some concrete evidence found in that pursuit, guys.
Very much so. Good on you, Matt.
Senior Constable Matt Brown from Safe Parole. We've spoken at length over the course of the journey this year about the cost of living crisis that's by a whole hope of metrics is a once-in-a-generation cost of living crisis. It's obviously headlined by the mortgage squeeze, 13 interest rate rises. Thankfully, one yesterday didn't come to pass. They put rates on hold, but still, all the indicators are people have less money to play with. Well, how do you explain record car sales data? 1.1 million new cars were bought this year. There's been a host of months that have broken all-time records. Scott Colley's the head of content at carexpert.com.au. Scott, good morning to you. How do you go to ways to answering that sort of paradox?
Good morning. Yeah, it seems to go against everything that you would expect, given what we're hearing and reading, but a lot of it is historical demand. So the VFAX figures that we report and that come out every month are actually based on the number of cars that are delivered. And the last couple of years on the back of COVID, there's been huge backlogs of orders on really popular cars like the Toyota Camry and RAV4. What we're finally seeing is they're actually arriving in owners' hands and it's showing up as new sales where they're actually not orders that have been made this year.
Right. So these could be cars that someone tried to buy in like late 2020.
Yeah, absolutely, in some cases. And in a lot of cases, there were orders that went down late 2022, early 2023. So it's finally sort of, I suppose, money that people had put aside at an earlier date and are finally actually arriving in their driveway. But what we are hearing from car makers is that the rate of orders being cancelled is growing really quickly, and also the number of new orders they've taken since the middle of this year has dropped off. Expect to see the cost of living crisis really bite next year on the car sales charts when that historical demand has been cleared out.
Well, it's interesting too, because in the backdraft of COVID, Scott, you probably had a lot of people who were thinking, well, we'd saved 20 grand to go to Europe with the kids. That's clearly not happening now. So maybe we'll use that money for a car instead. So maybe this is sort of shining more of a light on pandemic behaviour rather than cost of living behaviour.
Yeah, there was definitely a spike in people spending on cars, and cars designed to do stuff around Australia as well, like Patrols and Toyota Land Cruisers, where maybe previously they would have bought a normal family car and then gone on an overseas holiday. The other thing we saw during COVID was a big spike in ute sales and big American pickup truck sales, because the instant asset write-off was bumped up to $150,000, which opened the door for people to write off a lot more on vehicles that they use mostly for work. That's now ended, which means that it doesn't really make as much sense to spend a huge amount of money on a new work ute, which has also had an impact on bringing back deliveries of those cars. With that said, the best two selling cars in the country are still the Hilux and the Ford Ranger, and that kind of shows no sign of slowing down.
It is extraordinary. What does the data tell us about the penetration of electric vehicles into the market at the moment?
So this year has been the biggest ever for electric vehicles by an absolutely massive margin. There's been more than 80,000 delivered this year, and that's up almost 200% on the same time in 2022. I'm sure you guys are seeing it. There are a lot of Teslas around, and the Tesla Model Y and Model 3 are the best-selling electric cars in the country. But we've seen a lot of new, more affordable electric cars arrive as well from brands like MG, BYD, and even sort of Kia and Hyundai. And that's had a huge role to play. Last month, the MG4, which is a Chinese-made electric hatchback, it starts at about 40 grand, actually outsold the Tesla Model 3. We're seeing that pick up really quickly, and it's going to keep driving, whether it's rampant growth or not, we're not sure, but keep driving sales in that area into next year, we expect.
Hey, Scott, sorry to put you on the spot, but is the Toyota Hilux still the number one selling car in Australia?
It is, but only just. The Ford Ranger, I think year to date, is about 300 sales behind it.
Just 300?
And it has,
wow.
It's a tight one coming into the end of December, and if Ford can manage to sell more or deliver more Rangers than Toyota delivers Hiluxes next month, it'll be the first time Ford has had the best-selling car in Australia since the days of the Falcon.
Wow.
That's incredible.
That
The
is
Falcon.
really interesting. That is
like 1980s.
Fascinating information, Scott. Thank you so much for joining us. Scott Colley, the head of content at carexpert.com.au.
That was a great chat, Scott. I wonder what's the longest any of our listeners have waited for a car to be delivered.
Yeah.
Who ordered a car like in 2020 and it's finally turned up this year?
Who bought a new car this year?
Or had it delivered
Or
this
had
year?
it delivered this year? Who of our listeners got a new car this year? Tell us about your new car, 82230000. We'll do our own survey
You
about
did, didn't
5AA breakfast listeners. I did. No, did I? Was it this year? No, it was the year before. Was it this year? Last year. Yeah, Sam Dado, our Rosenet car guy, knows more about my car purchasing habits than I do.
My Kluger's
It was last year.
My Kluger's, I think the Kluger contract is about to expire because I got it through Toyota Finance, but it's I think it's almost 3 years.
Yeah,
I'll tell you what,
a year after you.
If you're looking for a second-hand Kluger, that car, as you've seen, it's racetrack ready.
It really is. It's unbelievable. If you got a new car this year, let us know, 82230000. I reckon a lot of people who are working, tradies and so forth, would have made use of the asset write-off. And as Scott was saying that, I thought that's actually an interesting inflation story, isn't it? Because that was one of the measures that was introduced during the COVID period. We didn't know how long the pandemic would extend for, and all sort of support was being handed out to people. So that's only just stopped flowing through the economy. All that what's essentially free money. That's a sign of what the Reserve Bank's trying to get on top of. A lot of the money that was being spent and handed out during COVID still having an effect even this year.
But wouldn't the exchange of cash on these cars
would have predated?
Would not show up in the current figures, because if you bought your Hilux in 2020, wouldn't you have paid for it then, or do you pay on delivery?
Well, maybe you only pay on delivery. Scott did say though that it's only just ended.
Yeah, of course.
So people have been taking advantage. He might have been end of last financial year, but
people just haircuts and dental work and
Well,
wanting to get from A to B.
Yeah, that's right.
Where will their self-interest
Trying to run their small business.
Exactly.
5AA News is coming up. We'll take you through some of the stories of the morning next.
Hi, it's Hazel from Physio Extra. If you're in pain today because you had a big weekend on the footy field, on the court or in the garden, give us a call today for a same-day appointment. For example, if you rolled your ankle, try and stay off it as much as possible, compress it and add a little bit of ice. When you come in for your appointment, we might ask you questions like if you heard any sounds, if you've hurt the area before, or if you've done anything similar on the opposite side.
It's the extra in Physio Extra that makes all the difference. Visit physioextra.com for your nearest location or call for a same-day appointment.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 31 with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettick.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
The Shadow Immigration Minister says new migration rules due to take effect this week can't come soon enough. The federal government's preventative detention regime has passed the Senate with coalition support after a third former detainee was arrested in Victoria. The legislation will see some asylum seekers released into the community placed back in detention. Dan Tehan says it's a positive step, despite Labor making a mess of the situation.
We put a motion to the Senate to get the government to bring it on because all they've wanted to do is play politics over this catastrophe, and it has been a catastrophe. We've got this very serious arrest, and it is deeply concerning the way the government has handled this.
Interest rates have remained on hold for this month, but the Reserve Bank's warning the fight against inflation isn't over. More from Zach De Silva.
The RBA has kept the official cash rate at 4.35% for December, giving homeowners some breathing space as we head into Christmas. Federal Treasurer Jim Chalmers says it's a welcome decision, but acknowledges many Australians are feeling the pinch.
We know that people are finding it difficult to make ends meet.
The Reserve Bank believes inflation is moderating, but not fast enough. Economists are predicting another rate rise early next year. The opposition's Angus Taylor maintains the government must do more to help households with soaring costs.
This will be a grim Christmas for many Australians.
The RBA board will meet again in February.
Some voters in Anthony Albanese's inner Western Sydney seat are seeking a change of leadership. Polling shows only 18% of voters in his electorate feel the government's effectively responded to their concerns. 1 in 3 believe it's time someone else represented them. Australian high school students are slipping further behind in maths, science and reading. Brian Wilson has details.
The first OECD International Student Assessment since COVID has revealed that Australia's student performance is lagging at least 4 years behind the world's leading nations. Singaporean students lead the world in the OECD report, Australia just scraping back into the top 10 list. The report also shows that 15-year-olds from disadvantaged families are faring the worst, lagging behind students from wealthier areas by the equivalent of 5 years.
Economic uncertainty and rising tensions in the Middle East have fueled a massive rise in the price of gold. Yesterday, the precious metal hit an all-time high of $3,135 an ounce. The shift by investors to the precious metals also giving Australia's balance of trade a boost, with gold among our top 10 export earners. Israel's expanded its military operations into the south of Gaza, where thousands previously sought refuge. The UN is warning we could see an apocalyptic situation develop in the Middle East. Prince Harry has taken the British government to court to get his police protection back. Brett McLeod reports.
When the Duke of Sussex stepped down as a working royal, a British government committee took away his automatic right to police protection while he's in Britain. His lawyers are now arguing in the High Court that should be returned because as the son of the King, he faces a security risk his entire life. The government's response was that Harry can still get access to police protection on a case-by-case basis. Most of the 3-day hearing will be heard in private because it deals with highly sensitive security issues.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. South Aussie Travis Head is back in Adelaide relaxing with his family after his World Cup heroics in India. The 29-year-old was the star in both the semi-final and final, helping the Aussies to a thrilling triumph against the hosts. Several photos emerged of him partying hard afterwards, and he says there were a few who enjoyed the victory with him.
I probably threw myself under a bus a little bit with a few of the photos I posted throughout the couple of days after, but look, you got to celebrate it the right way. I think we did that. There was a few standouts off the field as well, and it's just what makes that team so enjoyable to be around. And obviously, enjoying each other's successes, enjoy it as a team.
Audio there thanks to Nine. Head will head to Perth in the next few days to prepare for the first test against Pakistan starting on Thursday week. All AFL and club members will be able to snap up a free ticket to see their team play in the Gather Round when it returns to SA in April. The league will release information today on the deal, which will see members be able to redeem a general admission ticket to their club play a day before they go on sale to the public. Let's go to soccer. 2 games in the English Premier League this morning. Second half action is just about to resume between Wolverhampton and Burnley. Wolves taking the lead courtesy of a defensive howler late in the first half.
Oh, and that's an error there. Here's Cunha, and he finds Hwang. Is this the moment? It is! And Wolves have the lead. Hwang Hee-chan with his 8th goal of the season. In truth, it was a mess at the back for Burnley.
Audio there thanks to Optus. The other match between Luton and Arsenal is about 20 minutes in. Scores currently locked at 0-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Drake supermarkets have dropped prices across a range of Christmas favourites to make Christmas more affordable for you.
Good morning. Rides are working really well for the drive-in today. Anzac Highway, smooth as from Glenelg into the city. Northern Connector looking good. Some more accident and breakdown free on the freeway. Do have work to look out for this morning at Seaford, Main South Road near Robinson Road. And sluggish at the moment with a lane out of action at Torrensville, South Road near Ashwin Parade. You'll find cameras Burton Road, Parole and Darley Road at Paradise. Download more value in the Coles app. You can create in-store lists to see your estimated total and stick to your Christmas shop budget. Download the Coles app today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Partly cloudy and 31 today, partly cloudy tomorrow, 33. A shower or two on Friday, also 33, and then showers on Saturday, 21. At the moment, 17. More news as it happens on 5AA.
5AA's Business Lounge with Matthew Pantelis.
I'm with Kieran Ryan from Reactivate. Chronic back pain can really hurt your quality of life. How could Reactivate fix my lower back?
Reactivate is a minimally invasive, surgically implanted restorative solution to treat the cause of chronic low back pain. Reactivate focuses on improving function in your lower back and ultimately reducing pain.
What sets Reactivate apart?
Historically, patients have been offered pain medications which don't treat the underlying cause, and patients can become reliant on them. Reactivate can help treat the actual cause.
To learn more about Reactivate, visit fixmylowerback.com.au.
Patients must talk to their health professional about whether the Reactivate implantable pulse generator device is right for them and suitable as part of the overall plan to manage their intractable chronic mechanical low back pain. Outcomes may vary for each patient. Patients should discuss with their healthcare professional the factors that could impact the level and timing of the effect. The Reactivate IPG device is not a first-line treatment for chronic mechanical low back pain. Surgery is required to use the Reactivate IPG device, and any surgical procedure carries risk.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
7:08. Good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday. If you're just joining us, the 6th of December. Top of 31 today. Another magnificent day on the way. Big next hour coming up for you. Sean Fewster will join us. We'll go around the courts. We've got a smeg of plates to give away if you've got a rumour for us. Geez, it feels like at the moment every second week we get some seriously big rumours. And
on fire.
Last week we had a lot to follow up. We'll see what today provides. But if you've got something for us, remember you can remain totally anonymous. They can do absolutely anything to obscure your identity out there, Sam and Lucy. They're very clever.
You get a good name. You get a good made-up name.
Made up name.
I'm not sure what it will be today. We've had all sorts of things. We had wine regions.
If your voice is recognisable.
Oh, yeah, you can give you the full 730 report treatment.
Exactly right. We were talking about car sales before the break, and the incredible year that we've had in terms of new cars being delivered. We should tweak the language a bit, not necessarily sold, but record cars, a number of cars delivered this last year. Andrew in Fulham Gardens has called in. Morning to you, Andrew.
How you going, guys?
Good, thanks, mate.
I've been waiting for my Toyota RAV4 since December 21.
You're joking.
So it's nearly been 2 full years?
Nearly be 2 full years. 27th of December, I think we ordered.
A RAV4?
RAV4, all-wheel drive, cruiser, cream leather interior.
And when are they saying you'll get it?
Dunno.
Still don't know?
So they haven't given you a date?
Nope. When we ordered, we got told 12 months, and we were like, okay, it is what it is.
Yeah.
And then 12 months came and gone, radio silence from the dealer, nothing. You send them an email, they go, oh, yeah, hasn't been allocated. Sorry, we'll let you know when we get information. That's it.
Have you paid any money yet, Andrew?
A deposit.
Okay.
So we paid $1,000 deposit, which is apparently 100%. If we cancel the order, no worries. We get our deposit back. But the price of the car has gone up is what the issue is. So what we signed on the dotted line for 2 years ago, it's almost the same car now online. If you go to buy it, it was almost $9,000 more.
You're joking. See, and you're going to have to pay the difference.
Well, apparently we're sort of price protected from the increases, but not for the tech upgrades.
Okay.
So the way it works is every time they bring out a new model or like a tech upgrade, we have to pay for that. But every time they do a price increase, we don't. The problem is we still don't know what our figure's going to be. It could be $2,000 more, it could be $4,000 more, it could be $6,000 more. I don't know.
Mate, as someone who spends half his life screaming at the latest version of the Toyota car safety system, I reckon if you can say, I don't want the new tech upgrade, that'd be good. Because unless you want to have a little beeping sign on your dashboard, every time you open the window, it says window is open. Open window or close window. I just opened the window.
Andrew, I'll tell you what, it's not going to get the car here any quicker, but at least we'll get you some food. We'll get you a $100 Unique Home Styles food voucher. Get Unique pies, sausage rolls and donuts from your local independent supermarket. Unique, it's time for something better. We had another text from someone here on the Duttons text line saying, ordered a 300 Series Land Cruiser in May this year, looking at a 24-month wait.
Got a text too from a listener who ordered a Corvette in September 2019.
A Corvette?
Yeah, and has been told only recently this year, hopefully you'll have it by Christmas. Still hasn't turned up. And there's been 2 new models released since the car was ordered.
Well, that's outrageous. Poor old Andrew. They say, oh, yeah, your $1,000 is fully refundable, but you'd kind of feel like if I take that money now and then go and try and start the whole process again, the new model upgrade will be flying cars by the time the thing gets delivered.
Yeah, that's right. Or maybe you'll end up buying a car that's actually been rendered illegal by a future Adam Bant-led Australian government.
Exactly right. 12 after 7, let's get into some of the stories, starting in Canberra, where last night preventative detention laws have been passed by the Senate. Under the new community safety detention orders, people can be held for up to 3 years, and the orders will be reviewed each year. So it's not only for 3 years, it's just at the 3-year mark. The court would have to issue a new order every 3 years, so those subjected to them would be would have that opportunity every 3 years. You're then held in prison rather than immigration detention. If you've been released, one of the people that have been released has a prior conviction for an offence punishable by 7 years imprisonment or more, you're subject to this scheme. So if you've done something, that means you're in jail for 7 years. Now
that's quite a lot.
It's a lot because the bloke who stands accused of doing something here in SA,
which is called a minor indictable offence, I think.
He was jailed previously for a period, I believe, of about 3 years, so he wouldn't be covered by this legislation.
But doesn't that just show how screwed up the sentences are? Because
totally,
he got that for sexually assaulting women in Bordertown. Less than 3 years spent in jail. So what do you actually have to do to get a 7-year sentence for anything in this damn country?
That's a great question. Michaela Cash and the Liberals federally are saying, well, okay, how many people are covered? Who does this apply to? Where are these people? And how is it going to change things?
The Australian people are entitled to know who is being released into their communities. The fact of the matter is, at this point in time, we only know the tip of the iceberg. What we do know is that the government has released pedophiles, murderers, rapists and a contract killer.
So the government are out this morning selling the legislation passed in the Senate last night. Here is Claire O'Neill.
These people should be behind bars, is my view, and that is the way that I managed them when I had the power to do this. So let's be really direct here. Some of these are very bad people who have done very bad things, and that is the exact reason why when I had the power to keep them in detention, I would. I say to your viewers again, if I had any legal power to put these people back behind bars, I would do it. I've got 3 children, as if I want these people walking around on the street. Now, the job for the government is to make sure that we can provide ways to protect the community within the new laws that have been set down by the High Court of Australia, and that's exactly what we're doing. So we got the reasons for the High Court decision a week ago. We've already constructed a preventative detention regime. It passed the Senate last night. We'll be putting that to the House of Reps today and hoping by the end of the day that that becomes Australian law.
There's a separate problem for the government with all this, and it's not actually related to the moral outrage of all of these complete scumbags being freed overnight on account of the High Court lobbing this in the government's lap. And it goes to the level of effort, cost and energy that this is consuming for the Albanese government. And it's brought into stark relief by today's front page article in the Tiser, and it's been personalised because this has become his problem. So I think it's a totally valid journalistic treatment of it to give the Prime Minister total personal ownership of this you-know-what flavoured sandwich. But crime pays for released asylum seekers, Albo's free everything. Taxpayers have funded flights, food, cash, clothes and accommodation for convicted sex offenders, murderers and drug traffickers following their release from immigration detention, documents show. Now, you know, all this, and off the back of the paralysis we saw on other fronts on account of The Voice, this is an entire week that the government has spent bending over backwards to work out how to house, care for, redeploying hard-working South Australian police with very limited backup from the AFP. You know, the mother of all hospital passes, at a time of a recruitment crisis, numbers down, SAPOL, in the midst of all that they've had on their plate in the last month. You know, suddenly they're in charge of monitoring these people. It just looks like totally warped priorities at a time when most people are sitting there looking at their latest power bill from AGL going, bloody hell, how am I going to pay for this? I've never seen a government go so bad so quickly.
Well, this is a capitulation.
And I actually think they are irretrievably stuffed. I would put my house on Anthony Albanese being a one-term Prime Minister. I don't say that with any sense of glee. I mean, we had a great relationship with him, him and Pine for years, but it just feels like he's vanished.
Well, the last news poll predates this crisis, doesn't it? It had it at 50-50.
The next news poll.
The news poll had it at 50-50.
We should do closest to the pin. Let's make it interesting.
Yeah.
If they fell 4 points last time, what do they fall next time?
It'd have to be significant. Because as we said, it's a story that's manna from heaven politically for Peter Dutton, because whether you like the bloke or not, does anyone who knows anything about Peter Dutton think these people would have spent a day outside of detention had he seen the High Court ruling coming? Like, no. The criticism of him is he would have been rubbing his hands together making sure they were locked up.
He probably would have gone and arrested them himself.
Well, this is the thing. It's funny how sometimes your weakness can turn out to be your strength. And the weakness was he was obsessed about these kind of things as a former immigration minister. Well, it suddenly looks like the right man for the job.
Yeah.
On this issue.
Well, and I think too, part of it is the sort of modern culture of Labor, which has gone moved a long way away from its sort of working class roots. Is that now there's a lot of people in the Labor Party federally who go, I think we've got to be careful not to demonise these people. I go, yeah. Good luck with that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in Paraka...
Yeah, what did that woman do wrong?
Yeah, 100%.
Want to talk about a little bit about, I think, a man who is gaining fame in Australia but might now be challenging Sir Don Bradman in India, and that is Professor Arnold Dix. This bloke's right back in the country, and I'm obsessed with this guy's story. He's a barrister. He's a world tunnelling expert. He saved, the headline is, in recent days, he's obviously saved 41 Indian men trapped underground for 17 days in a collapsed tunnel, a bit like Richard Harris, who we spoke about on the program yesterday, was flown as an expert. A landslide caused part of the 4.5k tunnel to collapse on November 12. The Indian authorities flew him in and said, well, we need the best in the business. And Arnold Dix was the man who ultimately did the job. He's a lawyer, an engineer, president of the International Tunnelling and Underground Space Association. I don't even know what that means, but it sounds like he was the right man for the job. He's back in
Best in the business.
Best in the business. He's back in the country now. They're talking about making a Bollywood film about him.
Oh, excellent.
It was perfect. It was stressful. Like, don't underplay technically how hard it was. So we just had a day of a bit like a footy or cricket club outing with a whole lot of Indian fellas all singing songs and dancing, and it was just wonderful. You know, because I think I'm a pretty lousy actor. But even if I'm just an extra, you know, like just a bit of, you know, doing the Indian dancing there, it'd be a great thing to do.
He wants to be an extra in the film about him in Bollywood.
How cool is that?
It is just a remarkable story.
We're good at getting people out of holes in the ground.
We are. We're expert. You know what we do have that we don't, because we know the nature of being Australian is you downplay your achievements and your excellence. But sort of we unlike our friends, the Americans, our close friends, we don't make a virtue of saying how good we are at stuff. But there's a reason why Australian experts are flown to disasters, and it's not just because we just happen to have good cave divers and tunnellers. It's because we've got good everything. We've got a lot of experts, cutting edge people. We don't celebrate our expertise that much in this country. But we have a lot of very smart and excellent people who are world class at what they do. We just don't hear about them.
One of my favourite stories, because it feeds into my anti-clerical sort of mindset. Craig Challen, Richard Harris's buddy in the Thai rescue, was talking about some of the hoopla in the lead up to them going in. Like when they'd said, right, we're gonna do this. We're gonna go in and get those kids out. And apparently there was some American priest who, for some reason.
Oh, really?
Like an episode of The Simpsons, and there's some vicar sitting there, you know, sort of wringing his hands about what's about to occur and talking about the moral dimensions of it and everything else. And he went over and he spoke to Craig and he said, I just want to ask you, how are you feeling today? And Craig John looked at him and said, today I feel like a person of science. Because they'd worked out how long kids can breathe for, how long the tunnel is, there's X times Y equals, fingers crossed this is going to work, and it did. But yeah, just the whole laying it on with the trowel thing, it's just very good, droll, laconic Australian reaction. I feel like a man of science. We're just going to go in and do this without any hoopla. And they did.
22 minutes after 7, we're going to take a break. We'll check traffic, and when we come back, we'll have all the details around tickets for Gather Round coming up next. If you're planning on going along, or maybe you've already had a look, maybe you've already jumped online, let us know. What's your plan to tackle Gather Round next year? 8223 8888. You can text us on the Duttons text line. We've got all that information coming up right after the break.
G'day there at Keswick, Smash and South Road near Richmond Road. Heavy delays in both directions at the moment. Stirred a breakdown on the Southern Expressway near Marion Road. Got a lane closed this morning at Salisbury Park Terrace near Paternoster Road. Speeds at 25. And look out for cameras, Gorge Road, Athelston and Maxwell Road at Para Hills. Look for the RAA sign at over 400 independent RAA approved repairers across SA. You know you can trust them because RAA do. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Mornings with Matthew Pantelis.
Hands up if you're surprised. Warnings, some of the people released from indefinite detention by the High Court of Australia could potentially pose a threat to Australian citizens, have been tragically realised with a woman allegedly assaulted at the Pavlos Motel at Parole.
Weekday mornings from 9.
He has an ankle bracelet, which as it turns out has proven as useful as a screen door in an AUKUS submarine.
On 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. The Lynn Andrews team have seen a lot of change in real estate over the past 50 years, but one thing remains unchanged: our passion to help people invest in their future, to build strong property portfolios in either the residential or the commercial sectors. Our commitment to property investment over the years means we have a wealth of knowledge to share. We're here to help you. Visit lynandrews.com.au.
It's a frightening thought, but what if you lost the capacity to manage your financial affairs? If you're not at the helm, who makes medical or health decisions? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers will answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com. Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
A great-looking roof not only increases your curb appeal, it protects your most valuable investment. Roof Seal is the household name in roofing and has been since 1984. There are over 100,000 happy customers Australia-wide.
The Roof Seal team are roof restoration experts. They can clean, replace tiles, repair mortar, recoat your roof for a fraction of the price of a new one. They can also replace gutters and downpipes, install leaf stopper leaf mesh, zip screen blinds and roller shutters.
As a special offer for new customers too, Roof Seal will give you a $500 Roof Seal voucher for your job when you book your appointment before December 11. Simply use the code word 5AA SEAL. Call them on 1300 36 7070 to get this 5AA Roof Seal offer. The promotion runs right through until the 12th of December.
Roof Seal, the roof restoration experts.
With help from FIVEAA Milk Company and the Udder Way, cafes all over Adelaide have joined the fight to reduce plastic waste. Instead of single-use plastic bottles, they've introduced the Udder Way's reusable 18-litre kegs. In the initial week, they stand to eliminate 1,500 plastic bottles. Together with other cafes, supermarkets, schools, restaurants, hotels and workplaces, millions of single-use plastic bottles will be taken out of circulation. You gotta feel good about that. Visit fleuriomilkco.com.au for more.
Don't miss the Solitaire Volkswagen Summer Spectacular on now. As SA's largest Volkswagen dealer, we have plenty of stock available now for immediate delivery. And we won't be beaten on price. Visit Solitaire Volkswagen Hawthorn and Medindi today. DL 65541.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
26 after 7. Make sure you check out the sports show tonight, $19 schnitty, Monday to Wednesday, Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a Parole hotel, Rowie and Tippy G. We're talking more about Gather Round, I expect, because the league's released details on the ticketing for 2024. They go on sale next week. There's some good news for members of football clubs too. You can get a general admission ticket during a 24-hour priority window on Monday via Ticketek before they go on sale to the public. That's right, you get a freebie. You can get tickets with your membership. So
the cost of the games at Norwood and Mount Barker has gone up by $5, hasn't it?
So up $5 to $35. The Saturday doubleheader Adelaide Oval, so Freo Carlton and Bulldogs Geelong, will be $35 in total for both matches, so you don't obviously pay twice. Kids tickets are $10 across all venues, but if you get a family pass, kids go along free.
Yeah, right.
But it's actually those Mount Barker and Nord games, and in fact, $35 for general admission is exceptionally good value.
It's good.
It's unbelievable in this day and age. I mean, that's
yeah. And I wonder how many of our listeners are going to think about doing this thing in the McGarry room. $95, which is apparently mountain of booze and snacks, canapes, all sorts of, petit fours, finger food type stuff. But they're having like music and live bands and stuff. It sounds like it could actually be quite a good day.
I think it's a good gesture too to allow members of a club to go see your team
first
for free as well. Like we kind of need to retain the fact that this is, yes, it's a festival of football, but football at its heart is about supporters of a club.
Do you reckon there's a chance it could sell out?
Absolutely.
But even before it gets to the public sale?
Oh, no, I wouldn't have thought.
Because it's open for a day to AFL club members first.
Yeah, that's right. That's on Monday, and then during the week, for the rest of the week, you can buy tickets next week at Ticketek.
But it's going to be a great weekend.
The whole thing sold out last year, didn't it?
Yeah, every single game.
And I think what they've done this year is smarter with the double header as well. The problem with having the Port game as the double header was you had a lot of Port fans turn up late because they didn't necessarily want to see the early game.
Well, there's only one double header this time.
That's right. But having the double header being interstate sides, I think will encourage people to stick around for two games. You're not just going to have a disproportionately large number of people invested in one of them. So I think
it also means locals will go, I'm going to go and watch the two games.
Exactly right.
Yeah. As opposed to, the Port people going, understandably, I'm here to see, Port play.
Yeah,
no one else.
4.5 hours 5 hours or whatever to lock away. So it's going to be absolutely massive. There's no doubt about that. That coupled with the LIV Golf ticket sales that Rennie told us about earlier would suggest that the interest in those particular events is anything but waning right now. In fact, they're picking up momentum. But there'll be more to discuss on the Sports Show tonight. $19 Schnitty Monday to Wednesday at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and Lighthouse Wharf. You just know it's a Parole hotel.
G'day everyone, Cornsey here. Now, I know a great team when I see one, and the South Australian hydraulic team I rate the highest is BL Shipway. I've known them for a long time. David Shipway's one of the best blokes you'll ever meet. BL Shipway, they've been looking after your hydraulic and pneumatic needs since 1953 with brands like Ryco, Rexroth, Enerpac, Hydac, Oilpath, EasyFit and many more. And if you can't get to them, they'll send a Ryco 24/7 van to you anytime, anywhere. blshipway.com.au, a South Australian team you can count on.
Every year families all over Adelaide enjoy the festive season with Chanellas because they make it so easy to entertain guests.
With Chanellas, there's no running around. They do it all for you. So just jump online and place your order. It is that easy.
Everyone knows Chanellas are the masters of platters, be they hot or cold, grazing boxes, arancini platters, schnitzel platters, cheese platters, fruit platters, so much more. For the sweet tooths, continental cakes, cannoli, tiramisu, zeppole, the list goes on, and it's so easy to order online.
And remember, with Chanellas, everything is lovingly made in-house from scratch by their chefs and patisserie chefs. So get your Christmas orders in now. Call into 62 Prospect Road, Prospect, or go online at chanellasmarket.com.au. That's chanellasmarket.com.au. Chanellas, best and fresh. It's a way of life this Christmas.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 31. With the 7:30 news, I'm Kendall Brettig.
Try Locomat robotic gait training technology for neurological issues at Physio Extra. Visit physioextra.com.
A third asylum seeker freed from immigration detention has been arrested in Melbourne, accused of breaching his reporting obligation as a registered sex offender. He's among more than 140 people released after the High Court deemed indefinite detention was illegal. Shadow Attorney General Michaelia Cash has slammed the government for failing to prepare for the ruling.
Governments must be prepared to deal with complex situations. These ministers have shown by their failure to respond properly to the High Court decision that they should no longer be in their portfolios.
Preventative laws have since passed in the Senate and could see some asylum seekers placed back in detention as early as this week. Former Oakden whistleblower Stuart Johnston has fronted court alongside his adult son. The pair's been charged with knowingly possessing child exploitation material. Mr Johnston says the charge is not as it seems and more will be said about it in due course. He'll be back in court in January. Australian academic standards have fallen behind the world's leading nations. The latest OECD data shows the maths and reading skills of 15-year-olds has been declining over the past 20 years, with our state suffering the sharpest decline. Tricia Jar from the Centre for Independent Studies says we've thrown more funding at the issue, but it hasn't found its way into the classroom.
So we need to look at what's happening in the classrooms, what's happening with the curriculum, what's happening with teachers, what's happening with classroom behaviour and classroom culture.
It may feel like summer's here, but we're in for a wet weekend. The Bureau says the temperature will climb to 33 by Friday before dropping by more than 10 degrees on Saturday. Vince Rowland from the Bureau says up to 20 mils of rain's expected in the metro area on both days over the weekend.
We do see those showers developing later on Friday, but continuing through the weekend and actually increasing. And that does drop the temperature quite significantly. So we've got a top of 21 degrees for Saturday, 20 degrees for Sunday.
Police in the US state of Virginia are investigating after a massive explosion engulfed a house and rocked the area. More from Alison Petrowski.
Arlington police have identified 56-year-old James Yu as the suspect believed to have triggered the explosion. He's presumed dead after human remains were found at the scene. Officers had been attempting to execute a search warrant after Yu was firing flares from his home into the surrounding neighbourhood. Neighbour Alex Wilson captured the explosion on camera. He says Yu had been firing at the officers.
He started firing a weapon back. I mean, I believe it was like an AR. It was a high caliber weapon.
Police say this was an isolated incident and there is no ongoing threat to the community.
And a tortoise in America is celebrating his 191st birthday. Jonathan is the oldest living land animal and has surpassed his average life expectancy by 40 years. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Let's start with cricket. The rift between former fast bowler Mitchell Johnson and Dave Warner has deepened. Johnson revealing a text message was the trigger for his weekend attack.
Got a message from Dave which was quite personal. There was some stuff in there that was extremely disappointing what he said and pretty bad, to be honest.
Usman Khawaja and ex-Test batsman Joe Burns are among those defending Warner and backing him to be selected for a farewell series against Pakistan. Let's go to soccer. Manchester United manager Erik ten Hag insists he still has the backing of the players despite their struggles this season. The Red Devils banned 4 media outlets from its media conferences for reporting some players were unhappy with him. Despite winning only 3 of their past 8 matches in all competitions, Ten Hag says the players are on his side.
I listen always to my players. I give them always the opportunities to tell. And if the players have a different opinion, of course I will listen. But they haven't told me. Maybe 1 or 2. So the majority, they want to play like this.
Meantime, there's 2 games on this morning with Luton and Arsenal locked at 1-1 approaching half-time. The Gunners took the lead in the 20th minute, but that lead lasted less than 5 minutes.
Oh, and in! Gabriel Osho there to meet it for Luton. And that is a mighty fine response.
Audio there thanks to Optus, but in the last 30 seconds, Arsenal has scored again. The Gunners now leading 2-1 right on half-time. In the other game, it's Wolverhampton leading Burnley 1-0 with about 20 minutes to play. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Drake supermarkets have dropped prices across a range of Christmas favourites to make Christmas more affordable for you.
At Keswick, look out for a smash. It's on South Road near Richmond Road, causing really heavy delays in both directions. Breakdown at Sturt, not causing too many dramas, but keep it in mind. It's on the Southern Expressway near Marion Road. Angled Lane out of action, Tennyson this morning. Military Road near Dunn Street, speeds at 40. Cameras, Daly Road, Paradise and Harris Road at Vale Park. How's this for great value? $5 sandwiches at OTR. Yes, all sandwiches, even triple sandwiches, just $5. Mondays to Wednesdays at OTR. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Partly cloudy and 31 today, more of the same tomorrow, 33. A shower or 2 on Friday, also 33, and then showers on Saturday down to 21. At the moment, 18. More news as it happens on 5AA.
If you're constipated and struggling to poo, here's some great news. Introducing Caruso's Constipation Ease. Caruso's Constipation Ease is a new herbal and fibre combination containing cascara, yellow dock, fennel and green banana powder. These help to relieve constipation by making it easier for you to poo. So if you're struggling to poo and would like to poo more, why not try Caruso's Constipation Ease? Caruso's Constipation Ease is available from leading pharmacies and health stores. Always read the label and follow the directions for use.
Mawson Lakes Mazda's 2023 Play Clearance Sale is on now. Discover amazing deals across the entire range, including free on-road costs on all cars. That's right, free on-road costs across the entire Mazda range. Hurry in to find your perfect model and colour. The sooner you get to the showroom, the better your chance of scoring your dream car. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast. It's time to go around the courts with Sean Fuster on 5AA Breakfast.
22 to 8 if you're watching along on the Foodland Supermarkets, Facebook and YouTube live stream. You'll note we've been joined in the studio by the best in the business, Sean Fuster. Sean, good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. And yeah, if you are watching on the live stream, you know I don't know which way these headphones go on, so I hope I've got it right.
I don't think you can get it wrong. Well, as long as it's on there on your ears.
Well, one says L and one says R, but I can't find it on this pair. So
Well, you've got to find the ear that's got L written on it.
What?
Match the ear piece to the ear with L.
Is he speaking? I can't hear him. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Mrs. Richards! Mrs. Richards! Your hearing aid is turned off!
Well, might we laugh. Your story today is, I actually think, of this year is one of the most horrible stories of, not, you know what I mean, the content of it is one of the most horrible stories that I think's gone through the courts. Just something about family violence, and often we talk about it in terms of it's one aggrieved party against another, but when it's an entire family, I think it takes on an even more sinister nature. This is awful.
And look, I've had the fortune of knowing wonderful people who have had the misfortune of having entire families arrayed against them in an emotional abuse sense or in a financial abuse sense, and these people are incredible people who have survived insurmountable odds and made wonderful lives for themselves without the support and the assistance that so many of us, rightly, I think, take for granted, the unconditional love of family. To see an entire family array against a single member for violent intent out of, I'm going to call it, outdated religious thought is horrifying. We're, of course, talking about the family that's now known as the Zai family. And I just want to give massive props here to Supreme Court Justice Sandy McDonald. This is a case where you have a victim who has been physically violated and abused by her entire family. They have stabbed her in broad daylight, kidnapped her, left her bleeding in a shower, all because she fell in love with a man who was not of their faith, and they disapproved of that. This came after months of stalking her, of tracking her phone, of threatening her with violence, of breaking into the wrong house, trying to beat up the boyfriend with knuckle dusters. It's an entire campaign of violence. How do you report that story in a public interest sense, because it's very much in the public interest, without identifying that woman so that she can move on and get on with her life after this and have some chance of normalcy? Justice McDonald came up with a brilliant solution. She said, the word Zai in the Pashto Afghan language means son of. So like Bradson or Danielson in the way that we do surnames in the English language. She said, I'm going to call the entire family Zai. That way we can talk about them without identifying the victim, and she can have a life. So we at The Advertiser went through the Pashto Afghan dictionary and found other words, mother, father, brother, sister. Spoke to the court, and the judge said, look, we're good with that. So we can now identify them by those names.
Right.
And it means that you can actually get the personal insight into how this must feel rather than being separated by the words the father, the mother, the victim. And it means that the survivor, who we're calling Law Zai, has a personality within all this. She's not just a number. She's not just a victim. So well done, Justice McDonald, for thinking ahead and getting ahead of the problem before it starts.
The extent to which the family was involved it's hard to comprehend, isn't it?
Look, you've got the situation where, according to the prosecution documents, the mother, whose name is Walida in this case, the sister, whose name is Kaur, and the younger brother, whose name is Raw, find out that Law is in a relationship with a man that's known as Catalan. They don't like it. They confront her about it. They say, you can't be in this relationship. You're promised in marriage to your cousin. So you have to marry him. You have to break this off. Law says, I'm not interested. I'm not coming home. I'm going to live my life. And then, like I say, Raw spends months at Walida's direction, stalking his sister, putting tracking apps on her phone, following her around, finding out where she's going, trying to get some beat on where she is. When she cancels all of that, dispels all of that, they then keep ringing her, harassing her. And this is the part that breaks my heart the most. Walida says, all right, look, I'll meet you in a public place and give you back your stuff. All quits. Law says, of course, I'll do that, but bring a friend, a mutual friend, so that I know you're not going to try anything. And this poor mutual friend, who's done nothing wrong, then gets caught up in the middle of this ambush, where she watches Walida and Kaur grab Law's arms and hold her, and the older brother Zowie gag her with his hand, while the father and the brother-in-law run in and stab her. In broad daylight. In broad daylight.
It's an entire the difference with this compared to a lot of crimes, where there is an individual who has views that are totally incongruent with social expectation or the rest of society. To have an entire family on the same page.
Yeah.
They just have a belief system and a view
Well,
of
the
the
other
world
thing
that
too,
is totally different to what we
with
do.
their warped Taliban-style hardline Islamic view of the world.
Well, it's not even Islamic. It's Pashto, which predates Islam, and that's the important thing. It's actually even more hardcore than what people think Islamic fundamentalism is. This is like someone...
But how can even marrying your cousin? Like,
yeah.
They seem completely, not just indifferent, but actively hostile to the laws of the country that's given them a home.
Well, I would go indifferent. I would definitely go indifferent. Their presentation in court speaks to indifference. There is
How do you mean? Are they disdainful? Are they like...
There's a casual
rolling
nature
their
to their
eyes, or-
appearances in court.
You mean the physical appearance?
Physical appearance and their attitude and their mien in court is very casual. They don't seem particularly bothered being
Well, they probably
in court.
don't regard the court as having any authority.
I wonder if that's the case. I do wonder if that's the case. That's certainly the presentation they're putting forward. Now, look, they've all pleaded guilty, but they've pleaded guilty not to attempted murder, which was what they were originally charged with, but with aggravated causing serious harm with intent. In the legal sense, that means we intended to stab her. We did not intend for her to die. How that works with the whole thing that, stabbing someone is an act that can lead to a death, therefore, I don't know, but this is a decision that's been made within the lawyers, within the prosecutors, to accept this plea and
That
move
almost
this
sounds
case
like
on.
they're quite comfortable with their behaviour in a warped kind of a way.
We're yet to hear sentencing submissions, but I don't envy the defence counsel that have got this case. Let's put it that way.
Is it all legal aid?
A lot of legal aid.
Is there
I
some
doubt that they're all
precedent?
gainfully employed, these people, given the amount of time they had to spend.
I believe they own a business, and I can't talk about what business it is because of the suppression orders, but there has been mention before of a business owned by the family in a suburban area, so I think they are self-starters in that sense.
What's the history been, Sean, of people trying to argue that I was stabbing but not to kill?
It's a very, very long history. You do see it in murder cases a lot of times. I'm going to plead guilty to murder on the basis that I knew it was a possible consequence of what I did, but it wasn't my intention. People get mixed up and think that you must prove intent to prove murder. You don't. You just have to prove on the prosecution side wrongful and willfully dangerous act that could lead to death and a knowledge that could happen. But plea bargaining is plea bargaining. And at the end of the day, you've got to ask the question, what's better for law? Is it better for the prosecution to push through and try to force a murder trial that's going to take 6 to 8 months with 6 interpreters interpreting multiple different languages for 6 defendants and a jury hearing things in English, then in Pashto and Punjabi, then in English again, going slowly like that, and law having to give evidence? Or accepting the plea bargain that allows law to then get on with her life and restart somewhere else, new life, new name, new identity, and move on? You've got to ask what's the better course for justice there.
You've spoken to us in the past in this segment about the fact that if you turn up with a group of people and shoot someone, you don't have to be the one that pulled the trigger to be done for a murder.
That's right.
Does that hold true then for the lesser charges?
Absolutely. This is still a joint enterprise. The fact that Law got stabbed means that Walida and Kaur are just as guilty as everybody else because they were holding her arms. The one separate to that is Raw, the younger brother who did all the stalking beforehand. He wasn't involved in the stabbing. He's not pleaded guilty to anything to do with the stabbing, but he's pleaded guilty to everything surrounding the stabbing. And the court has said, I think quite rightly, no, your case can travel with everybody else's. You'll get sentenced at the same time. Your sentence will be different, but you can stay with your family and we'll deal with this holus bolus.
I'm amazed they managed to keep a business running while also mounting a full-time, round-the-clock surveillance operation against this poor girl.
I just wonder why people like this would choose to live in a place that has so different views to them. Like it'd be the equivalent of us moving to Afghanistan and saying, well, I'm going to do things my own way.
Yeah. I'm going to the beach today. I'm just going to walk around with my billabongs on.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to buy a carton of VB. Like, you just sort of go, well, actually, no, because I do want to do those sorts of things. I won't live in Tora Bora.
Yeah.
I'll live instead in Mitchell Park. Yeah, what's the appeal of a liberal democracy like Australia to these people? It sort of makes you wonder whether great drongos at the moment running the immigration department, they're letting people out willy-nilly. Maybe there should be a bit more of a sort of, what's the legal term? Buyer beware? Is it caveat emptor?
Caveat emptor, yeah.
Yeah, so look, so you know, you are coming to a country that lets women, you know, vote and stuff, and we have television, and there is a bit of topless bathing, and we give it a bit of a nudge on the Terps at times. Like, you know, this is a country which
is signing up for.
Pretty sort of, you know, let it rip.
I will say this about the immigration debacle that's going on at the moment. One of the reasons it needs to be solved is because all of these members of this family will be facing under the law deportation when they qualify for parole.
Well, let's hope they've got passports to a recognisable country so we can F them off ASAP. Pardon my French.
It's about the only way that law will be safe to live the rest of her life, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Great analysis, Sean.
A lot of time spending over backwards for people who've got absolutely no regard for our community standards. It's amazing.
Great stuff. Now, what's happening with Just Law for the rest of the year?
We are on Sunday night. We are continuing, funnily enough, our analysis of another family matter that involved people who were originally from overseas, the case of Wei Lee, who allegedly murdered his mother. We're at the point where, it's about to take, as usual with Daniel and I, a twist that you're not going to see coming.
Looking forward to it. Good on you, Sean.
On you, Sean.
Thanks, guys.
At Keswick got a smash on South Road near Richmond Road. Really heavy delays in both directions, particularly inbound. If you normally use South Road trays and Goodwood Road or Marion Road, those delays are awful this morning. Stirred breakdown on the Southern Expressway near Marion Road. Got a lane closed today at Cavan, Port Wakefield Road near Goldsborough Road, and Cumbera's Harris Road, Vale Park, and Maryvale Road at Athelston. Top tech gift ideas from Super Cheap Auto at exclusive club member prices. Pick up a wireless Sony speaker for $69. Sale ends December 7. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Right now, Toyota Material Handling is having a massive clear out of 2022 and 23 plated forklifts. Score great deals across a selected range of new Toyota forklifts currently in stock. Counterbalance and reach forklifts, walkie stackers and more. So if it's 22 or 23 plated, get a great Toyota forklift deal. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota forklift. T's and C's apply. Offer ends December 31.
This is your captain speaking. I have a confession to make. I never wanted to be a pilot. I mean, I'm okay. Average at best. No, I wanted to be a concreter with Adelaide Exposed Concrete. Now there's something to be proud of. Just look out your window at those Adelaide Exposed Concrete driveways and paths. Just stunning. Now, where's this landing button? Wrong one.
Adelaide Exposed Concrete. Best on ground all year round.
One of the best things about the summer break is that it creates a bit of time to be in the garden. For most of us, it's been a tough year, so treat yourself to some peace of mind in the garden with a little help from Balhanna Nurseries.
Now, there's a huge range headed to your local garden centre direct from the nursery in the hills. Summer's a great time to get passionate about growing your own fruit, and Balhanna Nurseries have got peaches, nectarines, cherries, apricots and plums ready to take home and plant during the holidays. And you can share the experience with your kids and your grandkids.
Also, it's not too hot to plant. Trees will shoot in December as long as you keep the water up. I'll tell you what, you get them in before this weekend and you've got the water situation sorted. Ask for Balhanna Nurseries at your local garden centre. Look for the green bag and take a piece of the hills home. balhannanurseries.com.au.
I was just doing my job. I didn't think I'd get injured.
The doctor said it was a routine procedure? Right.
The car came out of nowhere and it smashed right into us.
At DBH Lawyers, we're here to listen to your story. Our team of local South Australian lawyers will help you navigate the law and find the best way forward. We're with you. We're for you. We're DBH Lawyers. dbh.com.au.
Thinking about a solar battery? Don't wait. Connect with NRG Solar and bring home a solar battery with a rock-solid 10-year warranty. Use the energy you generate during the day to store some for later, reducing reliance on energy providers and putting money back in your pocket. Experience blackout protection that'll save you thousands, all at your fingertips through a user-friendly app. Embrace 24/7 solar today. Visit nrgsolar.com.au. That's nrgsolar.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
Eight to 8. Time to open up the Smeg rumour file.
Give us the tea, Adelaide.
We want tea. We'll give you a kettle, thanks to Smeg.
I'm posing with the kettle now. Look at it.
Building or renovating, you should. Your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference. With Smeg, you can remain totally anonymous. If you've got a good rumour for us, we would love to hear it. We had just an hour's worth of cracking rumours last week, but we only need one to give away the kettle. 8223 And again, sometimes they are, where's the new hospital going to be? Sometimes they are, where's the police horses going to be staying? But sometimes they are, have you heard what's going on with regard to the frog cake? Have you heard what's going on at Burnside Shopping Centre?
The frog cake story still...
There's something going on there, isn't
something
there?
Going on. Mrs. Max bought Balfour's. And there's some sort of restructuring, but it's in that stage of don't worry, everything's going to be all right, nothing's going to change. But I don't know.
Some weirdness. We've got too many rumours on the day.
We did.
Get your rumours coming in, 8223 As always, our commitment to you is you remain totally anonymous. We'll get to some of those shortly. Michael Keelan has been out and about meeting great local businesses for our 5AA 12 Days of Christmas promotion. And today he chats with Mark Cossins from Stained Glass Overlay.
5AA celebrates 12 days of Christmas.
Mark Cossins, tell me about your business, Glass Overlay.
Basically, we design, manufacture and install custom-made stained glass windows.
So with the designs, you can have anything you like.
We've got over 3,000 designs ready to go, or we can make something up that's special just for you, like your business logo, for example.
Brilliant.
Stunning.
And
absolutely
Mark,
stunning.
Is it sort of soundproof? The same qualities as glass?
Same as normal glass. What we use is a 4mm toughened glass, and it's often the cathedral look. So you can see that someone's standing at your front door, for example.
How long does it take from design to actually install it into your house?
It's 4 to 6 weeks.
So where can people see the actual designs?
If you have a look at the website, which is glassoverlay.com.au, there's a few designs up there. There's also a full explainer video on the process of manufacture.
Simply go to glassoverlay.com.au 1800 10 70 52.
Merry Christmas from 5AA.
Terrific business, and it's great hearing Michael Keelan out and about chatting with them. He's been doing a wonderful job. Appreciate him contributing to the program as always. After 8 o'clock this morning, David Koch is coming. We're going to have a really interesting chat, I think, about not just the year that's been, but the year ahead, because the interest rate determination yesterday forced us all to look forward. Things are on hold. But are they on hold with a view to them being cut and the burden on homeowners reduced next year, or have we still got a little bit of short-term pain on the way?
Not for the first time, Will. You were right. I was wrong. It was a bit of it was like betting on a 10-1 horse in the last race at Angle Park. But I said I reckon the bank is going to put up rates, and they didn't, happily. But it feels like they've just sort of kicked the can down the road, doesn't it?
Completely. Yeah, I think everything they've said is that they believe there needs to be more rate increases. The thing that's the bulwark against that was the CPI data that came out. So the thing they look at about how well are we doing suggests it's coming back well. The question will be, what do we learn in January over the course of this Christmas period? How much money gets spent? If it's a really bad Christmas for retailers, they might say, hey, enough damage has been done.
Our work here is finished.
Our work here is done. We've got a smeg rumour from English Breakfast Tea on the line. English Breakfast, good morning.
Oh, good morning, guys. You probably remember the former Greater Union cinema house. It's going to be turned into a rock climbing wall. I think that's the way.
Yeah.
It's got the height there and so on, and possibly a 24-hour gym. And then I think maybe some cafes and things like that.
Wow, that sounds. Where is it exactly, English Breakfast Tea?
It's set back on Hindley Street when you get to that sort of I don't know, is it a nightclub or something?
There's a few
like
takeaway joints down there as well.
Yep, that's right. It's set back. It's sort of like in a courtyard.
Of course.
Oh, that's a good rumour. I like that.
That'd be good with all the uni students nearby.
Yeah, or anybody. I wouldn't mind having a go myself, strengthens the legs a bit.
Yeah, exactly.
It does look like fun. You often see those things, and it does make sense. You need to build it somewhere where you've got, obviously, the height.
Wasn't there one down there near the volleyball courts?
Just a freestanding one?
Yeah. Was there a wall there?
I think
Which would be going, because that's now going to become
I think you're right.
an office block or residential tower. Good rumour.
That is an excellent. We love that kind of local rumour.
I'm excited by the tea theme. Wonder what else we're going to get. Hopefully a bit of orange pico. Maybe chamomile. I love chamomile tea.
You're a chamomile man.
Find it very
Do
soothing.
you know what tea I like?
Going to need a cup of it after some of the stories we've been discussing this week.
I know. I'm a fan of the very divisive Earl Grey tea. I love Earl Grey. Oh, so's Lucy. Is that right?
A lot of people say it's too floral.
Yeah, a lot of people hate it.
Yeah. I know people who hate it.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I don't. I'd prefer Irish breakfast.
Irish breakfast is really good.
The red one.
The two types we've got in our cupboard at home are. No, we've got Melbourne breakfast as well, actually. Irish Melbourne.
Melbourne?
Yeah. You can get it from that T2 place.
Melbourne. Melbourne is in Victoria, Melbourne?
Yeah.
Melbourne breakfast tea.
Oh, yeah, and it smells like Melbourne, let me tell you that. It's very...
What, you mean like a block drain?
Yeah, it smells like it votes for the Greens. 2 to 8, 5AA News is coming up.
Now let's see what's in the swear jar at Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens.
Boy, that's a cookie
picture! Busted. My mistake. Let's see. Here it is. Here's one from Renette, an interior designer at Buy Urban for over 20 years. Renette swears to ensure your dream bathroom becomes a wonderful reality. For a team that swears to deliver on quality and service, see Buy Urban Bathrooms and Kitchens, Adelaide's home renovation experts. Wouldn't mind a cookie.
You can do just about anything online. Shop, meet new friends, watch reruns of your favourite TV shows or movies. But there's one thing you should never do online, and that's your will. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your final wishes. For wills and estate planning, visit donlanlawyers.com, Hindmarsh Square, Adelaide, and Ocean Street, Victor Harbour.
Now, the Adelaide Hills are most certainly alive. So many new families making the tree change, and these people need room to breathe and the space to dream. They've chosen to discover what is on the road less travelled.
And if you're heading to the hills up the freeway, take the Mount Barker exit, turn left, and you'll soon be discovering the home of Mazda in the hills. Mount Barker Mazda has the best selection of Mazdas waiting for you, and the big man is coming to the hills, so celebrate the festive season with 25 days of deals this December.
Not only are they cheap, but they're ready to take away too. Save up to $9 grand across the demo range. Plus, with any new Mazda in stock, receive a $1,000 fuel voucher. They're on site and available for immediate delivery.
Oh, how about that? Take the road less travelled to Mazda's home in the hills, Mount Barker Mazda, since 1954. Mount Barker Road, Tonnes.
If you need to fix your pipes, call Precise. Call Precise. If your toilet's blocking up, call Precise. Call Precise. If your lights aren't turning on, or your hot water is gone, or a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Precise.
Precise Plumbing and Electrical. Call 1300 700 200. That's 1300 700 200. Precise Plumbing and Electrical. We're helping life flow.
For a plumber or an electrician, call Precise. Call Precise.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Partly cloudy and 31 with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Physio Extra for Locomat robotic technology treating stroke, cerebral palsy, brain and spinal cord injuries. Visit physioextra.com.
The state opposition wants the Premier to take the lead when it comes to keeping South Australians safe from convicted criminals released from immigration detention. It comes after a 65-year-old man faced court in Adelaide on 2 counts of indecent assault. He'd only been in the community for 3 weeks after a High Court ruling. Shadow Police Minister Sam Telfer wants Peter Malinauskas to make it his top priority.
We know that there are 6 in South Australia, with 2 of them being sex offenders. We need to make sure they're properly watched over whilst the federal parliament are trying to sort out the issues with the legislation.
Preventative detention laws are being expanded so the worst of the former detainees can be ordered back into custody. The legislation will be rubber-stamped by Thursday. A standoff over disability funding and tax revenue will be top of the agenda at today's National Cabinet meeting. Zach De Silva reports.
State and territory leaders have come to Canberra for the last National Cabinet meeting of the year. The federal government is hoping to secure their support to tighten eligibility for the NDIS. The cost of the scheme is becoming increasingly unsustainable, and premiers are being asked to foot more of the bill for low-level disability services. The states are resisting the push, demanding a greater share of GST revenue in exchange. Broader health reforms are also on the agenda, along with greater cooperation on community safety.
Cost of living pressures are fuelling what's already deemed to be the most stressful month of the year. Last December, Beyond Blue saw a 41% increase in people accessing the service. Dr Grant Blaschke says they expect to see the same, if not more, this Christmas.
I think people are feeling the pressures of high inflation and rate rises, and this gets amplified this time of the year by some of the pressures of the festive season, the end of the year, and it's a big time for people.
But the Reserve Bank did deliver an interest rate reprieve for home and business owners yesterday, keeping the official cash rate on hold at 4.35%. Police were kept busy overnight with 2 pursuits across the northern suburbs. The first was through North Adelaide and surrounding suburbs with a driver in a stolen Nissan Skyline. Senior Constable Matt Brown says patrols followed the car to Brompton, where it collided with bollards at the end of a dead-end street.
A search of the stolen car located numerous power tools suspected of being stolen, and checks revealed that the Nissan had also been stolen from a Woodville North address. And the men will face numerous charges, including driving dangerously to escape a police pursuit, illegal use of a motor vehicle and unlawful possession.
While 2 people were arrested after a car was dumped at Prospect, allegedly with stolen property inside. The Mitsubishi sedan's boot popped open and revealed construction tools. A 48-year-old man and 47-year-old woman are both facing numerous charges. Australian academic standards have collapsed, with the maths and reading skills of 15-year-olds declining over the past 20 years. The latest OECD data shows students are now at least a full year behind compared to other countries. Singapore was a clear number 1 in all subjects. France's parliament's approved draft laws which would see single-use and disposable e-cigarettes banned. The government's hoping to address rising rates of vaping among teenagers and harmful effects on the environment. Australia will implement similar laws next year. And rescue workers in Indonesia say they've found the bodies of another 9 hikers caught out by a volcanic eruption in Sumatra. 22 people have now been killed. 1 person is still unaccounted for. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new Platinum and Native Series sectional doors are here. Gliderroll.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Former Test bowler Mitchell Johnson is struggling to find allies in his public spat with former teammates Dave Warner and George Bailey. He believes Warner shouldn't be given a farewell tour from the Test team, given his form and role in the ball tampering scandal. Sydney Sixers batsman Jordan Silk has told Wide World of Sports the veteran deserves his swan song at the SCG.
Probably our best opening batsman, maybe aside from sort of Matt Hayden of all times. And I think he's probably shown even in the last sort of 6 months at during the World Cup, he's still a player that seems to be at the peak of his powers.
Still on cricket, Pakistan will warm up for the Test series against Australia today when it begins its clash with the Prime Minister's 11 in Canberra. Meantime, in the Big Bash, Nathan Lyon has been withdrawn from the Renegade squad to play the Sixers on Friday night as he prepares for the upcoming Test series. Let's go to football, and Adelaide and Port Adelaide's players will both have big training sessions at West Lakes and Alberton respectively this morning, with both clubs set to put up players at the end of those sessions. Adam Scott holds a 1-shot lead on Cameron Smith heading into the final round of the Cathedral Invitational at Cathedral Lodge Golf Club in Thornton. In the English Premier League, Manchester United has banned a handful of media outlets from its press conferences over their coverage of under-pressure manager Erik ten Hag. Meantime, on the pitch, Arsenal is now 2-1 up against Luton early in the second half. The Gunners hitting the lead late in the opening half.
White in a very dangerous position, and so too is Gabriel Jesus.
Audio there thanks to Optus. The other match has just finished, Wolverhampton claiming a 1-0 win against Burnley. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Drake supermarkets have dropped prices across a range of Christmas favourites to make Christmas more affordable for you.
G'day there. At Keswick, residual delays from an earlier crash on South Road near Richmond Road. Got a breakdown at Sturt this morning. It's on the Southern Expressway near Marin Road. No great delays there. Lane closed this morning at Torrensville, South Road near Ashwood Parade, and getting busy. Brighton Road at Glenelg East. Cameras, Smart Road, St Agnes, and Maxwell Road at Para Hills. With some of Australia's most well-known brands, a Coles Group and Myer gift card is on everyone's Christmas list. Available in-store and at giftcards.com.au. T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
Partly cloudy and 31 today, more of the same tomorrow, 33. A shower or two on Friday, also 33, and then showers for Saturday down to 21. At the moment, 19. More news as it happens on 5AA.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
8 minutes after 8, David Koch coming up very shortly. Looking forward to chatting with Koshy. Nothing port-related we can talk to him about, is there? I suppose there's the bubbling Sandful stuff in the background, but that seems to all
hasn't moved much.
Has been formalised. The big question for Koshy is about the state of the economy broadly and indeed cost of living for you personally, because the interest rate decision and determination yesterday has given us a good opportunity to look forward to 2024, because they have admitted they're looking to 2024 now. Everything is on hold between now and the first Tuesday in February. We'll be talking about that with Koshy very, very shortly. But first, it's time for Breaking Note.
Well, our next guest has spent the better part of the last 10 years fighting for justice in memory of her sister, Anne-Marie Cullerton, who was killed back in 1988 under the most appalling circumstances by a parolee from South Australia called Jonathan Bakewell, who, while on parole, he absconded. He travelled to Anne-Marie's flat in the Northern Territory, where he raped and murdered her, strangled her with her own bedsheet, and in May 1989 was sentenced to life with no parole. Well, the question that Anne-Marie's sister Eileen has is, why is it that life does not mean life, and why is it that that families of murder victims, and rape victims in this case, have to go through this interminable guessing game with a parole board, finding out all sorts of distressing details about whether the offender is even abiding by the terms of their parole. We have Eileen Cullerton on the line now for this special Breaking at 8. Eileen, great to be chatting with you again.
Thank you for having me.
No, not at all. We've spoken a lot over the years on this. I want to start by talking about something that's happening in the UK, because the government of Richie Sunak has only announced just a couple of months ago that they are going to bring in the very laws that you are campaigning for in memory of your sister.
Exactly. In fact, the legislation is going to have it's before Parliament, it's going to have its second reading this week. So this is calling for mandatory sentencing with no parole for rapist murderers.
Yeah, so if a woman is killed in the course of the most grave form of sexual assault, that's it, all bets are off, you just go to jail forever.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And as you know, this is what I've been campaigning for, and the UK are leading the way. And it came as a result of two horrific crimes of the rape and murders of Zara Alina and Sabina Nessa. Now, Zara Alina was a law student, and, you know, she was just walking home at night, you know, in the public streets of London when she was brutally raped and murdered. And a life sentence was not given. And there was a huge outcry about that. And also in the case of Sabina Nessa, and the public expectation, the public mood now is that we can't tolerate these crimes. They have a similar situation of a horrific levels of sexual violence against women, and obviously domestic murders as well. So they're doing something about it. And I'm calling on the South Australia government to follow suit. They're leading the way. The precedent is there, and it can be done.
I think overwhelmingly the public would agree. In terms of the parole board too, Eileen, because the process, it took you about 6 years, I think. There were 14 failed drug tests, 5 official parole breaches, 3 years of you campaigning. I know we just had Sean Fuster here in the studio with us. I know you've done a lot of work with the Tizer over the years.
Yeah.
But this sort of weird drip sort of effect you had with the parole board of finding out exactly what this bloke was doing while he was on parole. There's not enough transparency there, is there?
There certainly isn't. And in this case, I didn't find out about the additional 9 failed drug tests that until Bakewell finally had his parole cancelled, and he came before the Supreme Court asking for another new non-parole period to be set. And all those parole breaches were listed in the court transcript, and I couldn't believe my eyes. And I was looking, and I knew there were a lot, obviously, because I've been campaigning, and there were 6 breaches. I'm going, this is a lot more than 6. And then I discovered 6 months, he'd only been out 6 months before his first failed drug breach. And by the time we were told he'd breached a number of times, but we were told it was his first breach. And so this is misleading, the victim family. It's misleading the public. And they continued to do this while I was campaigning. So I was campaigning to have his parole cancelled, and they were hauling him before the parole board. And I was calling them the revolving door parole board, because he'd come before them and they'd slap him on the wrist and he'd be back out into the community again. And I was, because I've been on the radio a few times about this, and for our family to finally find out the extent of what was going on, it's just shocking. It's outrageous. And it can't be tolerated. We need to bring transparency and accountability back into the parole system. There isn't any at the moment. And so what I'm calling for is, again, similar to the UK, again, they're leading the way on this. So they have all parole board decisions regarding violent offenders and the rationale for why they're kept in or why they're let out. All those parole board decisions are published online, and it's also the case, they're also published online in Western Australia, in Queensland and in Tasmania. So
we haven't even got a website yet, have we? They're still in the process of setting one up.
And that was an argument the parole board chair, Francis Nelson, used. But it's not relevant, because in Western Australia and also in Tasmania, they don't have their own website. It's just one page on the Department of Justice site. So it's just a page with a list.
Well, we know
and
that
then you click on the name. So it really isn't difficult at all, and it's really not going to involve resources. And it's this kind of, you can't have accountability without transparency.
Absolutely. And look, we know too that you've been advised that Bakewell has applied yet again for parole, so we'll keep monitoring that. And we know too that you have written to the parole board, and that copies of your submission and the last time he had his application refused have been sent to the Premier and the Attorney General, and also the Commissioner for Victims' Rights, who's gone into bat for you and your family, Eileen. So we'll stay in touch on this story, and we wish you all the very best with the campaign.
16 after 8, lots of Dutton's texts coming through. We'll have a look at some of those in just a moment. Call into Dutton's Mount Barker or Murray Bridge, purchase a new or used vehicle and go into the draw to win $3,000. We'll check the fuel situation first, though, with the help of the free RAA app that you can download today and find the cheapest fuel in an instant. Some good cheap spots this morning. The Ampole North East Road, Gillies Plains, is $1.65.9. That's probably the cheapest. The OTR 5 Ash Drive, Pasadena, is at $1.68.5. The OTR Tapley's Hill Road, Seaton, is at $1.75.5. The cheapest diesel is the Ex-Convenience, Main North Road, Jeps Cross, at $1.83.5.
One here simply says, Melbourne breakfast tea from T2 is the bomb. And this is from a fervent anti-Victorian. Lot of feedback about the segment with Sean as well. Asking the question we asked, why would people who have such medieval views that jar with absolutely every skerrick of the Australian way of life want to live here?
That's what I don't get. What attracts you to come to a country that in almost every... Like, I just can't find...
Say what you said off air.
I find it unfathomable.
The immigration department, there should be a simple quiz on arrival.
How hard would it be?
I like your idea. Just a nice gloss, clean photograph of two blokes kissing each other, and just show it to people. So what do you think of that?
What do you think of that? That'll rule out.
And if they start saying, well, people like that should be thrown off the top of buildings, you say, all right, off you go.
This is not the country for you.
You come to the wrong place. Yeah. There's a few little trigger point questions you could.
I just don't feel like people whose faith says stabbing your own daughter as a part of normal practice would be that hard to weed out if you applied some actual effort to the process of vetting.
Yeah. You could, well, they're clearly profoundly stupid as well, so it would be quite easy to trip them up with a few little questions like that.
But I don't think, I don't think they're capable of actually lying about their faith and what they believe.
No, well, because it's such an aberrant and hardline view that they would feel duty-bound to tell the truth.
Lots of good text on that front. We'll continue to follow that story because it does feed into broadly with the issue we're having with the detainees released at the moment as well.
Scott from Aubrey, funny guy, Scott. I love this. He talking about cars that aren't ready for delivery. Scott says, yeah, I ordered a Lamborghini Aventador 4 years ago, but I still haven't got it because the dealer keeps saying, you don't have any money, please stop calling us. Nice try, Scott.
These unscrupulous dealers.
Yeah. Where's my Hurricane? I did that in 2019.
Chamomile Teal is on the line. We've got the Smeg rumour file open, of course, and the kettle to give away before 9 o'clock today. Thanks to Smeg. If you're building or renovating, your first choice should be visiting the Smeg showroom at Debney Distributors. Taste the difference with Smeg. Chamomile tea, good morning to you.
Good morning, gentlemen. Rumour for today is Adelaide successful businessman is celebrating 50 years of being in business, and he's planning a huge party, probably about 1,000 people early next year. So the champagne will be flowing.
Are you the businessman, Chamomile tea?
No, I'm not that old, God. This businessman is in his early 70s and he's still working.
What industry are we talking about here?
Retail.
Okay, retailer. 50
and he's a big name?
Oh, yeah, don't worry, they advertise it on your show too.
Okay, 50 years in the business is a long time trading.
Yeah.
Worthy milestone to celebrate too.
Certainly is.
Well might the champagne flow. That puts you in pretty rare air.
Yeah. Wonder who it is.
Thank you, Chamomile tea. Keep the rumours coming in, 8223 0000. You can win yourself that Smeg kettle before 9 o'clock today. It is a magnificent kettle. Let's check traffic. We're going to come back with Koshy in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. At McGill, got a crash St Bernard's Road near the Uni campus with pretty solid delays there. Lonzada crash, Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road, and Sturda breakdown on the Southern Expressway near Marion Road. Getting busy, Brighton Road at Brighton, with cameras today, Lyons Road, Durnan Court, and North East Road at St Agnes. Solitaire Volkswagen is SA's largest Volkswagen dealership, with unbeatable deals on new and demonstrator vehicles. Visit Solitaire Volkswagen, Hawthorne and Medindi, DL 65541. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie and Timmy G on the 5AA Sports Show.
Has anyone seen or heard of our Strikers WBBL Championship team? If you have, drop us a line. It's like where's
MIA?
Where they are. Apparently they're having a crack.
I think the whole team is now on milk cartons. They're looking for
Oh, God, that is unreal.
Where are they?
Rowie and Timmy G.
The ladies have got 2 titles back to back.
We've got one. Wouldn't it be great if we could hold the men's and women's?
That would be awesome.
4 p.m. weekdays on 5AA.
Don't just get a forklift. Get a Toyota. Right now, Toyota Material Handling is having a massive clear out of 2022 and 23 plated forklifts. Score great deals across a selected range of new Toyota forklifts currently in stock. Counterbalance and reach forklifts, walkie stackers and more. So if it's 22 or 23 plated, get a great Toyota forklift deal. Visit toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get a Toyota. T's and C's apply. Offer ends December 31.
Energy providers are still emptying your wallet, but the good news is that now it's cheaper to generate your own electricity using solar and batteries. NRG Solar's expertise can guide you to owning your energy sooner. As a trusted retailer, they provide you with top-tier solar battery technology, complete with a 10-year warranty, blackout protection, and user-friendly apps for ultimate control. Fight back with NRG Solar and take charge of your electricity. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today.
If you've got an ache or any ongoing pain, don't put off treatment. Get your body feeling right with Physio Extra. They have 6 locations, including their rehab centres in Marion and Nord.
Both facilities have extensive rehab gyms with the latest equipment, and Marion also has a private hydrotherapy pool fitted out with lifters for safe and easy pool access.
Marion and Nord also have Locomat and Armio robotic technology. So that works like this. Locomat assists individuals with mobility impairments, particularly people who've suffered from neurological injuries or conditions that affect their ability to walk. Armio is similar, but it benefits upper limb rehab for people who've suffered an injury, stroke, or have a neurological condition.
Maybe less dramatically, you've just walked up 7 flights of stairs because the damn lift isn't working. You need to see a physio. This technology, though, together with highly trained professionals, makes Physio Extra the right choice for everything physio, Pilates, hydrotherapy and more. Check out their website, physioextra.com.
Rosanna Mangiarelli here from 7 News. Join me and Will Goodings for Adelaide's leading news hour, 7 News, tonight at 6 o'clock.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings, 5AA Breakfast.
And they could never tear us apart.
David Koch on 5AA Breakfast.
24 minutes after 8. Koshy, good morning to you.
Good morning, team.
So we were chatting before, Koshy, about the bank's decision yesterday to leave rates on hold. Do you think that they've... Is this a sign that the good times are on the horizon, or do you think that they might have just kicked some further ugliness a little bit further down the road?
I would put January 31 in your diary because that is going to determine interest rates next year because that's the day the December quarter CPI figure comes out. And while the October monthly figure was really encouraging, prices actually fell, but it didn't really take into account services inflation. It was mainly goods inflation. So as the Reserve Bank Governor said yesterday in the statement, they need more data, and that's going to be the big one. If it comes in, the December quarter CPI, better than people expected, then no more rate rises. I think this is the peak anyhow, and but I don't think they're going to be cut anytime soon. I don't think it's going to be a case of, okay, that's the end of it, no more rate increases. When do the cuts come? That won't be until well into the second half of next year at least.
But you think the second half of next year is realistic to see some cuts? I've seen some people say maybe towards the end of the year.
Yeah, way towards the end of the year, early 2025. I think the Reserve Bank is going to really play it conservative and say, look, we want to make sure this inflation genie is well put back in the bottle. We're not going to go too soon in terms of cutting rates.
I read a good piece, Koshy, during the week. I wonder if you could put this through the lens of Australia. It was about the perceptions of the US economy amongst Americans. And it said, by all the metrics that we have available that track the health of an economy and indeed how people perceive an economy, there has never been a greater discrepancy between those points in US history. That is, between how people, they think the country's going and how well it's actually going. Most people think it's going terribly when the metrics actually say it's going okay. How do you think we'd score in Australia on both those measures right now?
Okay, we're a classic case in this country because there are more people with a mortgage here that get affected than the US, because in the US, their mortgages
they're all fixed.
Are fixed for a long time, whereas ours vary on a regular basis. So I think it hits here a lot harder. Australians are asset rich and cash poor at the moment. Rising interest rates and inflation mean we're finding it tough to pay the supermarket bill, but our houses keep going up. So we feel rich. The assets are going up. Superannuation is done all right, but I think always the measure is how much your family cash flow is hurting, and that is hurting a lot of people. Rents, inflation, higher interest rates. So it's a bit tough. We are in a recession, except for 500,000 new customers coming in as migrants. If we didn't have those new customers into Australia, we'd be well and truly in recession.
Hey, Koshy, I always really valued your takes on federal politics because I thought one of the sort of benefits you had as the Sunrise host was the virtue of not being part of a press gallery or anything like that, and having your read on things informed by a vast suburban audience. It was pretty much almost like the national version of the audience we have here on the 5AA Breakfast Show. Do you reckon this government's in deep, deep poop?
Yes, I get that sense. I think there's a real sense of disappointment, not only cost of living and inflation economically. I think they're being blamed for inflation, and I think they've been on some of the social issues just reading the community wrongly, incorrectly. So I think they've got to have a bit of a dose of reality and get back to it, get out of the ivory tower.
Yeah, just the feedback we've had the last 48 hours with the detainee situation, and particularly compounded by the fact that a woman was attacked by one of these bludgers. It's just off the charts at the moment.
But sensible people just can't understand why the hell they're doing that.
Yeah.
Or taking the necessary precaution. So I think everyone's fed up. Yes, make a decision. But if you're going to make a decision like that, make sure you've got the support there. Make sure you've got the correct monitoring. It's just simple things they're overlooking for a headline.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Dave, we'll catch up again next week for the last chat before Christmas. Always great chatting to you.
I look forward to it.
Yeah, so will we.
Good on you, Koshy.
See ya.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. The National Tiles Cyber Monday event ends midnight tonight. This is the biggest National Tiles online and in-store event of the year. Spend $4,000 and we'll only charge you $2,750. Or spend $2,000 and we'll only charge you $1,450. This National Tiles Cyber Monday event is absolutely massive. So go to nationaltiles.com.au now. But you'll have to be quick. This offer ends midnight tonight.
How do you make a home unique? Don't start by following a trend that will probably look dated in a year. A new look could end up being something 1,000 years old.
That's right, we're talking about stained glass. There's a company here dedicated to this ageless art right here in Adelaide. They're called Stained Glass Overlay. They craft these amazing creations to order right here in SA, and they share them with customers all over the globe.
Brief the Stained Glass Overlay team on a design or choose from a gallery of stunning works. They're perfect for the front door or indeed a feature window.
Give your home a story and add a touch of class with Stained Glass Overlay. Get them out for a free measuring quote. Visit their website and watch the video at glassoverlay.com.au.
This is Adelaide's FIVEAA.
Partly cloudy and 31 with the 8:30 news. I'm Kendall Brettig.
Try Locomat robotic gait training technology for neurological issues at Physio Extra. Visit physioextra.com.
Federal Parliament may vote on new migration rules as early as today following a landmark High Court decision. Almost 150 people have been released from indefinite detention, including convicted murderers and pedophiles. 3 freed asylum seekers have since been charged for alleged reoffending, including a man in Adelaide accused of indecent assault. National Senator Matt Canavan says the government's handled the situation very badly.
The horses have bolted, or the prisoners have bolted in this case, and now they're trying to shut the gate afterwards. And unfortunately, this probably won't be the last alleged incident. It might not be the last Australians that are harmed by the government's completely being asleep at the wheel here at this time.
The Oakton whistleblower has appeared in court. Mel Usher has details.
Stuart Johnston fronted court yesterday alongside his adult son. The pair has been charged with knowingly possessing child exploitation material. 2 identical mobile phones were seized back in May. The 50-year-old will return to court in January to answer the charge. Johnston says the charge is not as it seems and more will be said about it in due course.
The latest comparison of Australian school students shows maths and reading skills have drastically declined in the past 2 decades. The OECD's Program for International Student Assessment shows nearly half of high school pupils are failing to reach national standards. Australia's regained its place in the international top 10, but that's being attributed to a decline in other countries rather than local improvement. Glenn Fay from the Centre for Independent Studies says those who fall behind often never catch up.
Only about 1 in 5 students who fall behind ever go on to beat the minimum level of expected achievement. So we must do better at catching up students, we must do better at stretching those, and especially in the areas like maths where we know that there's so much demand for high pay work in the future.
Police stopped a robbery in progress at a Davern Park liquor store last night. They were patrolling the area when they heard a commotion at the BWS on Peachy Road and found a glass cabinet had been smashed and a suitcase filled with top-shelf whiskies. The offender, who was allegedly armed with a knife, was arrested without incident. There were no injuries to staff. The 15-year-old boy from Mansfield Park was taken to the local police station to be charged. The communications watchdog says telcos must have robust billing systems in place after Telstra was forced to fork out $24 million in penalties. More than $17 million has been returned to 6,000 customers who were wrongly charged for inactive internet services. Telstra says the billing errors occurred because it didn't follow the proper deactivation process, including when some customers migrated to the NBN. ACMA chairwoman Nerita O'Loughlin says the company will pay a further $3.4 million by the end of the year.
More than 6,500 customers were impacted, and they were charged, most of those were small businesses, and they were charged around about an average of $2,500 more than they should have been charged by Telstra.
A YouTuber has been jailed for 6 months in the US for deliberately crashing his plane for views. Trevor Jacob posted the video of the plane crash after ejecting, selfie stick in hand, implying it was an accident. He since admitted the clip was part of a product sponsorship deal. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Gliderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderol.com.au.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Kendall. Controversy continues to surround Dave Warner's place in the first test against Pakistan, with a rift between him and Mitchell Johnson appearing to deepen. Pakistan will play against the Prime Minister's 11 in a 4-day match starting in Canberra later this morning. Well, Australia's Summer of Golf is continuing at the Cathedral Invitational at Cathedral Lodge in Thornton, which is northeast of Melbourne. Adam Scott leads at 8 under par, 1 shot clear of Cameron Smith ahead of the second and final round. Manchester United has taken the extraordinary step of banning several media outlets from its press conferences over its reporting on the club. ESPN, Sky, The Mirror and Manchester Evening News had recently published stories claiming some players were unhappy with manager Erik ten Hag as the Red Devils languish in 7th on the table. Ten Hag says the journalists didn't give them the opportunity to comment.
They should come to us first and not go around in our back printing articles. That's not the right thing. I think we have another relationship. If they should give that to us beforehand, we have a normal and a professional discussion and debate about it.
Meantime, an enthralling English Premier League contest is on between Luton and Arsenal, and it's now approaching full time. The Gunners led 2-1 at half-time before the home side hit back to take the lead 3-2, but Arsenal made it 3-3 right on the hour mark.
Here's Havertz! Arsenal back level. This time it's the Gunners who must respond. This time it's the Gunners who do respond.
Audio there thanks to Optus, and it's still 3-3 with about 5 minutes to play. And there was one other match on this morning with Wolverhampton beating Burnley 1-0. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now to the traffic.
Drake supermarkets have dropped prices across a range of Christmas favourites to make Christmas more affordable for you.
Morning there, crash will go for Ad McGill, St Bernard's Road near the Uni Campus. Lonsdale, crash there, Sheriff's Road near Brody Road. And a breakdown at Sturt today, it's on the Southern Expressway near Marion Road. Chandler's Hill got some works, Main Road near Chandler's Hill Road, speeds reduced. And a camera this morning, Merivale Road at Athelston. Crash that morning, Craving. Click and collect on the OTR app to indulge in a range of delicious barista-made hot and iced coffees made just how you like it. OTR. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
When you've earned your dream bathroom, speak to Bathrooms by Design, Clovelly Park and Lonsdale.
A partly cloudy day, heading for 31. Partly cloudy again tomorrow, 33. A shower or two for Friday, also 33. And then showers continuing on Saturday, 21. At the moment, 20. More news as it happens on 5AA.
We understand not all small businesses are the same. That's why Nissan Fleet offers tailored vehicle solutions for your unique business needs. With dedicated fleet managers available across Australia, we're your local fleet experts, providing quality advice, support and customer service for the entire life of your vehicle fleet. Visit your local Nissan dealer or search Nissan Fleet today. and we'll find the right business solution for you.
How easily could you save hundreds off your energy bills? That easy. Switch out your gas or electric hot water system for an energy-efficient heat pump with EcoVantage. Then sit back and save up to 70% on your water heating costs. And get it supplied and installed for as little as $0, thanks to government-facilitated subsidies. Yep, new hot water system from $0 that saves you hundreds. Pump your energy bills down with ecovantage.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head to 5AA on Facebook or YouTube.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. 5AA Breakfast.
22 to 9. We've been wondering where Albo is. We've done a little bit of work off air over the course of the morning. We'll present our findings shortly. First, we're off to catch up with Sam Daddo, who is out in Hindmarsh Square just behind us this morning. Sam, good morning to you.
Morning, guys. If you jump on the Foodland Supermarkets Facebook and YouTube live stream, you'll actually see I am in Hindmarsh Square. That is because the Adelaide City Council has begun rolling out their new parking meters. Now, there's about 300 of them all over the city. They expect to be all replaced by 2024. Now, the new meters, though, they're all digital, which means you can only pay by card, so you won't be receiving a paper ticket. You'll be receiving a receipt on your phone. So all you have to do is type your registration into the parking meter as we look at it here. It's all digital. Swipe your card. All the information is on the screen. The old ones have started being phased out because they're actually part of the 3G network as well, which we know is coming to an end shortly. So no longer will we have the old paper ticket. So I know we've been through the Optus, let's just say, situation a few weeks ago. Moving away from cash, more into this society of paying by card, is it going to affect people coming to the city? Because everyone's got a few dollars hanging around in the car, the gold coins, but I wonder if these new parking meters will catch some people out in the next few weeks.
Yeah, that's interesting, Sam.
Sam, mate, they already are. I was down after the show. I was meeting a friend for coffee at, what's it called? Q thingo? The hotel. SQ. Thank you. And an old lady came up to me and she said, "What's going on with these meters?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I used them for the first time last week." I said, "You've got to type in your number plate." And she goes, "I don't know my number plate." And I said, "I didn't know mine either. I had to walk back to the car, memorise my number plate, then go over
memory
to the machine."
test.
Yeah, and she said, "But where do you put the coins?" I said, "You don't put the coins. There's no coin slot." And she's just standing there rolling her eyes going, oh. A lot of people feel like her.
Actually, it was really interesting seeing Sam do that on the Foodland Supermarket Facebook and YouTube live stream, because when I heard the reporting on that, I imagine they'd be like the model you see in some places now where you do it via the app and you do it, there's no interaction with the physical machine at the site. There's like a phone number or an app.
Well, no, what you're talking about there, and I've got to say, I reckon this is great.
I think it does work really well.
It's called Easy Park. And Easy Park...
I thought it was going to be like Easy Park.
Yeah, Easy Park is terrific, because Easy Park's basically like Uber or Airbnb for vacant blocks. Like, there's all these blocks of land, particularly down the sort of Franklin Street end of town, on the western side, that were just sitting there unused, and now people have put the Easy Park numbers in there, and I've downloaded that app myself a few weeks ago. The really good thing about it is, say you're running into the Central Market to do half an hour's worth of shopping, and you see one of these spots and you throw your car in there. When you've got the app, you put in like, I'm going to be here for an hour and a half, say, but when you get back to the car, you open the app and it refunds all of that unused money.
Oh, that's good.
So you pay for the exact amount of time you park. So if it's $6 an hour and you're there for, 15 minutes, you pay $1.50. Whereas with the council ones, you pay the flat fee on your credit card and it's gone.
Your best guess.
So you guess. But with the U-Park,
the only thing with the Easy Park online app, I reckon that's another step even further for people to get their head around, because
you got to put your credit card into it,
and you've got to download the app. But at very least, these are still physical machines at the site that you interact with. It feels like inevitably we'll get to a point where it's just via your phone or device, or you probably have an app in the car. But that feels like it's probably another generation of parking meter away. A few people want to call in and have their say on this. 8223 0000 is the number. David, good morning.
Good like my daughter went along to a supermarket at 10 a.m. yesterday morning. She is with Westpac, and the first she knew is she tapped her card, and it was denied because Westpac didn't get back online properly till 12 o'clock yesterday. Now, I know she could listen to 5AA, but because of her age, twisting her arm for that's difficult.
She'll get there eventually, Dave.
When she had all the items in the basket ready to go and had to walk out with nothing because her bank was down. There needs to be other options.
Yeah, that was a disaster. Yeah, I felt for Westpac customers when that happened, because you would imagine, it, as David says, it's only affecting you. Because banks, they're pretty reliable. It's pretty rare that your entire bank doesn't work. So when something like that happens, you think, geez, have I been hacked? Have someone stolen my money? What's happened here? You don't tend to think, oh, maybe the entire country of Westpac customers is offline, which is precisely what was happening. Michael, good morning.
Good morning. I was in Angus Street the other day to try for an appointment, and the sun was on the screen of the meter, and there was 5 of us gathered around the parking meter to try and read the writing on the meter. They should have a little shade on them, guys.
Yeah.
So if it's in the direct sunlight, guys, you can't read it. So I ended up paying twice. Got 2 receipts later on sent to my phone. They need to do something about that, guys.
That's a good point.
That's a really good point.
That's a great point. Well, hopefully someone from the City Council's listening.
Yeah. Should we get the Lord Mayor on the show at some point? It's more than a year.
Maybe they don't listen.
14 months.
That's a very good point.
Speaking of the City Council, this is a really, really, really good rumour, and it would fit their Green Left bloc with their demonstrated hostility towards the idea that any private school or private sports club dare use the parklands, even though the facilities are still available to absolutely everybody else. This is the rumour. Any school wanting to develop anything at all in the parklands now has to pay 75% of the cost, with the ACC, Adelaide City Council, covering 25%. This used to be a 50-50% split, which remains for other groups. So there you go. Schools will now have to pay.
Why are schools being targeted more than any other groups? I imagine other groups would be sporting clubs.
Because they regard them as a bastion of elitism.
Okay.
They would see the crumbling Pulteney football shed that is in grave danger of collapsing on top of the kids who play football there as an example of Adelaide's landed gentry living high on the hog, and that if they had a little time machine, they could go back to the days when there were no such structures owned by private interests on the parklands.
Gee, declaring hostility to kids playing sport on the parklands is...
They did an audit of it. There was they commissioned an audit. The council commissioned an audit, like sort of naming and shaming the schools that dare use the parklands. This is class war nonsense.
It's a great smeg rumour. We've got the cattle to give away. We'll do that by 9 o'clock this morning. You can get your rumours in now on 8223 0000, or text us on the Duttons text line like that one did, 0448 08 1395. We're going to check traffic and come back with more in just a moment.
Thanks, Will. At McGill, there's a crash to look out for. St Bernard's Road near the Uni Campus. Lonsdale, another collision there. Sheriff's Road near Brodie Road. And a stirred breakdown on the Southern Expressway near Narrowing Road. Slow going for works at Henley Beach. Seaview Road near Main Street. Lane closed today at Torrensville. South Road near Ashwin Parade with the Canberra-Burton Road at Parole. Whether it's the school, delivery or weekend adventure runs, Volkswagen's multi-van is the perfect people mover for any task. Visit your local Volkswagen dealer today for great finance offers. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
On 5AA mornings today, a third refugee arrested, offending since his release. We'll look at that. Self-serve checkouts at supermarkets could soon have security gates. And the Adelaide City Council, the latest council to push for a ban on gas for new developments. Could it lead to the $40 schnitzel in pubs and restaurants? I'm Matthew Pantelis. There's some of the stories we're looking at today. Your call's very welcome as well, of course. Look forward to you joining me from 9.
In tough times, it's the simple things that make a big difference, like $19 schnitzel days at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf. We know the humble schnitty can't fix all our problems, but we do know it'll put a smile on your dial. $19 schnitty, Mondays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays at the Birkenhead Tavern, Excelsior and the Lighthouse Wharf, making the world a better place, one schnitty at a time. Got to start somewhere. you just know it's a Parole hotel.
Hi, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the Lynn Andrews team have made it easy for landlords to manage residential and commercial property. From single homes to multiple commercial holdings, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge. How to do it safely and properly, matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help you. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
Now, there's not a box under the tree big enough to contain the St John Christmas Home Lottery's grand prize. And this week is your absolute last chance to buy tickets and be in the running.
It's their biggest prize ever, and it comes with a choice. The lucky winner will choose between a $5.2 million waterfront home package or $4.5 million in cash.
Doesn't matter who you are or which one you choose, that prize will make for a very, very Merry Christmas.
What a thought. And this is your absolute last chance to be in the draw. The deadline is midnight on Sunday. Take your shot at becoming South Australia's next multi-millionaire.
Buy your tickets before midnight Sunday at stjohnlottery.com.au. Licence number M14453.
Get great value Christmas dishes for every budget at Coles. Like Coles RSPCA approved whole chicken was $5.50, now down to just $4.50 a kilo. That's great value hands down at Coles.
Don't miss the Solitaire Volkswagen Summer Spectacular on now. As SA's largest Volkswagen dealer, we have plenty of stock available now for immediate delivery. And we won't be beaten on price. Visit Solitaire Volkswagen Hawthorne and Medindi today. DL 65541.
David Penberthy and Will Goodings. This is 5AA Breakfast.
11 to 9. Brad in One Tree Hill has called into the program at 82230000. Morning to you, Brad.
Yeah. Good morning, boys. First of all, I'd buy you a ticket to your Fringe show for all your the record mess-ups.
Oh, good on you, Brad. Good on you, Brad. We'll see you there, mate.
You could never tell anyone about it. That's the rule.
No. The other thing, this cashless society you're talking about, the parking tickets and that.
Yep.
2 weeks ago, I come back across the Nullarbor from Perth, at Nundrew, pulled up there, no worries to get some diesel, big sign on all the pumps, no FPOS, cash only.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, and the other thing, and the other side of the coin, stopped at Baladonia on the way over, and there was, I said, that's a funny looking car, and it's a Telstra.
Tesla?
And it was getting,
A Tesla?
Yeah, Tesla. It's getting fueled, electrified up. Battery's charged, and I said to the bloke, I said, mate, where are you going? He said, I'm going to Melbourne. I said, well, you going all the way? He said, yeah, charging station's all the way. No worries.
The Tesla infrastructure apparently is unbelievable out in even
so that's
Australia.
the sign of the times, isn't it?
It is,
Two opposite sides.
Yeah,
very much so.
Great
Brad.
observations, Brad. Thank you.
So we asked the question earlier, where is the Prime Minister?
Well, I would just note, because every morning we compile audio and grabs of key people about big stories that are happening, and the biggest story's been about the detainees being released.
It's been a massive national story.
We had, yesterday in the morning, we heard from Bill Shorten from the government. This morning, Claire O'Neill was doing
Bill
Breakfast
Shorten,
TV.
the Minister for the NDIS.
Yeah, Claire O'Neill, is her portfolio, obviously, but she was talking on Sunrise this morning. Jim Chalmers did a press conference yesterday about interest rate rises. There's one name that has been curiously absent from any comment in the last 48 hours. It's the biggest name in the country. It's the Prime Minister.
Now, we stand to be corrected on this, but I've double-checked it with Phil Curry in Canberra this morning. We've been texting each other back and forth. The PM hasn't done a press conference since, or a media engagement of any sort, since last Friday, when he went on Neil Mitchell's show in Melbourne, 3AW. So the
For his farewell show.
For Neil Mitchell's last show. I guess if you were trying to sort of think about it from the tactical perspective of Albo's advisors, they're probably sitting in a room saying, you're not going out there because the press conference will be really torrid and you should not have personal ownership of this issue. Don't you think? I mean, you know that well better than me because you worked there for a while.
I think that would be the orthodox approach, is you don't want to own this. We don't want this to be an Albanese problem. But the issue is that ignores the context. And the context is the bloke's been absent from political discussion in Australia for the last 12 months.
I was thinking too that he makes a lot of, it puts a lot of store in trying to cast himself in the Bob Hawke mould.
Mm.
You know, part of the legacy of Hawkey if Hawke had been Prime Minister, this 12 months almost gone now, Australia would have had a cost of living summit where Hawke, the great consensus politician, he would have rung everybody from Gina Reinhardt to Sally McManus to, Santos. He would have got all the captains of industry and Labor together in a tent and said, and all the power companies, whether they like it or not, AGL, you're part of this, Origin,
yep,
you're all coming along, and we're going to have a sleeves-up conversation in the same way they did about tax reform, even though that crashed and burnt with Keating getting shafted over the GST. But you think about it, the model of the Accord, and remember, it was a time when Hawke famously said, tighten your belts. That was his message to Australia in 1984, tighten your belts. And back then it was Kelty, it was, what's his name? Was it Peter Abels? There were a lot of really big captains of industry involved in it as well. And the idea was we need a partnership between business and the unions to help Australians through the tough times and to keep wage growth low, to show that he wasn't a Whitlamite leader, which he did so successfully. It's like a foreign country, isn't it, that way of governing?
It is. Absolutely it is. It's just been an extraordinary...
People get smashed by all these interest rate hikes and well, we're not the Reserve Bank. Don't blame us.
John from Melbourne says, boys, Albo's been missing since the voice loss.
That's true.
I think that's a pretty accurate summation of his media availability since then.
Well, and it gets down to the micro level. I mean, that bloke, whoever the local member is up there for Spence, still hiding under his desk, won't even talk to anyone about the result.
It's not a strategy for successive terms of government, I wouldn't have thought. There is a minister that is speaking as we're talking right now. And it's not the Prime Minister. It is the Communications Minister, Michelle Rowlands, has just finished up at a press conference announcing changes to Australia Post.
I'm announcing today that the government will make a number of regulatory changes that currently apply to Australia Post. The daily letter service that is currently provided will now become every second day. And that is as a result of a new delivery model that enables parcels, express post and the priority letter service to be delivered every day. As a consequence of that frequency change, speed of the letter service will also be pushed out by 1 day. In addition, the priority letter service will also change, with its pricing to be determined in conjunction with consultation with customers.
It doesn't feel, it's no surprise because it's been a long time coming and it's been floated and rumoured and whispered about, and I think we've got our head around the reasons why. Australia Post announced a $200 million loss, and whilst they're not a private entity, they've got to operate like one, and that's just the changing nature of the way people will engage with the Post. But it's a historically significant day. In Australia, there won't be daily letter post. Just announced in the last 5 minutes. We shouldn't dismiss how significant that is historically just because we understand it and it's been a long time coming.
Well, you think about it, emails.
Absolutely.
Like the death of Christmas cards.
Well, people thought, remember, when emails were becoming and the internet was rising, that, well, what will happen to the Post? There won't be the Post one day. And what's happened is, well, there was not the letter post anymore, but the parcel post has gone gangbusters because of people buying stuff from all over the planet.
Hey, bit of breaking at 8:55. I've just got speaking about where the Prime Minister is. I've got a very reliable source tells me he might be going to Kangaroo Island today. Southern Ocean Lodge. There's a rumour going around that he's going to attend the official opening. Well, obviously, that was a huge moment in the history of SA, that wonderful hotel being torched by the
Isn't
the
National
bushfires.
Cabinet meant to be on today with all the premiers?
Well, someone who is in the know says that there's a rumour that he's going to be going
Southern
to KI.
Ocean Lodge reopening would be a big event.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not.
Interesting. Sam, good morning.
Morning. Can you give us a hit of the Smeg rumour file sting, please, Will?
Give us the tea, Adelaide.
For once on 5AA Breakfast, we are giving you the tea. Now, we discovered this morning, just before 8 o'clock, that there is no, not yet. a Melbourne breakfast tea from T2.
Oh, yeah, this is good.
So I've run down at 8:20, quite literally ran down to Coles, picked up some Melbourne breakfast flavoured black tea in a bag from T2. Have a taste, David. Let us know what you think.
Has it got half a sugar in it?
No, so just deal with that.
So no sugar?
No. You need to have all the flavours in the notes. So as you taste it,
I'm
this
smell
is...
it first.
Go on. This is what it is. When the winds start howling, this brew will see you through. Indulge a little with a full-bodied vanilla sweet tea bound to keep you cosy all round. Sip it up, Melbourne style. Thoughts?
I can do without the Melbourne references.
Yeah. It's a hard sell brand-wise in Adelaide, but I think it's actually a really nice tea.
I feel like I should be wearing a skivvy.
I think it's actually made of bits of crumpled up skivvy.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. It's good.
Yeah, it's quite floral.
It smells a bit like lavender, though.
Yeah, I didn't like the smell of it.
Yeah, it's a bit too lavendery for me.
We were talking teas because, of course, the Smeg Rumour File, the fake names were all brands of tea.
Thanks for doing that, Sam.
The winner this morning of the Smeg kettle is English Breakfast, who had the rumour about the repurposing of the Greater Union Cinema on Hindley Street to become a rock climbing establishment and a rock wall, those artificial rock wall climbing establishment, and a gym potentially as well. Good rumour, good nice local one.
Cracking rumour.
Is changing that end of Hindley Street. Hindley Street towards the uni end is sort of unrecognisable for what it was even 15 years ago, I reckon. A lot changing in that front. So the Smeg kettle is coming your way.
And if you're in Pandana, keep your eyes peeled for a large white car with the number plate CW1 heading past. If you do see the Prime Minister in your travels, let us know. We'll be all ears.
Matt Pantelis is coming up. We'll catch you tomorrow from 6.
Remember when milk came in bottles? I mean real glass bottles. It somehow tasted better and it was better for the planet. That's why the FIVEAA Milk Company have partnered with the Udder Way to bring you milk in a glass bottle.